Yes, sir.
Yes.
Happy King Day, y'all.
We back at
Absolutely. Happy King Day.
Happy King Day.
We back at it.
Fighting for the dream that made Martin Luther the king.
We back at it. We back at it. You know, I had to switch it up a little bit. It's inauguration season, so I'm on my Tim Scott.
Nah. Don't do that. Don't do that. We still got kids.
Come on, bro. It's Martin Luther King Day, but they agreeing too. Come on.
Downs, I ain't see him either.
Tim, where you at? Hit my phone.
Who's your daddy?
On my phone, Tim.
Calling Trump daddy. Barron don't call Trump daddy.
Yo, he said, "Who's your daddy?"
That's crazy.
Daddy's home. Shout out to Usher. I ain't hear that since Usher.
Tim, man, we gotta talk. We gotta talk.
Yeah, conversations need to be had. But there was an inauguration today.
It's a lot going on right now for sure. So yeah, we got a lot to talk about. We got a special guest, 19 Keys, gonna be joining us a little bit later. So yeah, man, obviously everybody knows what's been going on. If you haven't, you know, President Trump was sworn in today. Inauguration happened around 12 o'clock. And a lot, you know, he said a lot. You know, talked about the Gulf of Mexico being renamed. That's one of the first things he's going to do. He talked about a colorblind society. He talked about only recognizing male and females. And a lot of this stuff we going to black out this week will be legendary, by the way.
For sure.
So this is a platform where we here to educate. Of course, we're going to give some commentary, but just know blackout is when we're going to go crazy.
I appreciate that, guys.
But I got a feeling this episode is going to be spicy as well. I mean, we got Keys coming on, perfect timing.
That's a fact.
But make sure you watch Blackout this week for sure. 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on Wednesday. Make sure special episode. Earn Your Leisure this week as well. 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. My guy Lecrae.
Hey,
dope artist. Somebody that's been killing the game. So we got a conversation with him 6 o'clock. And shout out to everybody that purchased the book. You know, we wrapped up our book tour.
Yeah, 5 cities, 5 days.
5 days, sold out days.
Kudos to y'all. That's incredible.
We appreciate you pulling up on the Houston stop. Houston was incredible. New Orleans was incredible. DC was incredible. Atlanta, New York's energy was just
unmatched, right? Man.
It's ridiculous. Shout out to Brooklyn. Shout out to New York. That was home cooking right there.
Yeah, everywhere was great, man. So shout out to everybody. Shout out to Larry. Happy birthday. He had his birthday weekend in Houston.
Yeah, birthday, Larry.
Dave Shantz was on the road with us.
Yes.
For 3 cities, man. It was just
he got the vlog a little bit.
Did he?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you haven't gotten the book, just get the book. But shout out to everybody that purchased the book. You know, we pushed real hard for the first week. And tomorrow we're going to be on Sherry Shepherd's show.
Yes, we will be live in studio.
So daytime television vibe.
Again.
I told you, one of the greatest rollouts I've seen.
Yeah, man.
Appreciate that, man.
Yeah, well, I try to tag, I'm sure Shai did the same. We try to tag as many people as possible. The love has been overwhelming, but the reaction to the book has been equally as great, man. So, yes, it's great to support it, but actually taking action, reading the book, and executing on the information inside of it is what this is all about, man. So shout out to everybody that purchased and those who gifted it. Shout out to everybody that gifted it. I saw a couple people had their own little campaigns. I bought 10. I'm going to give away one to some people. So shout out to everybody, man. Speaking of birthdays, we can't go any further. Yesterday was a huge birthday for a company called Earn Your Leisure. That's right, folks. 6 years ago.
That's crazy.
January 19, 2019. We shot our first episode in your office, which was incredible. I remember we bought 2 chains of clothes because we were going to try to shoot 2 episodes in that day. But yeah, man, 6 years later, here we are. So shout out to every single person that spread love, that told somebody about what we were doing, that's been championing us. It's been an incredible journey. Shout out to everybody that's touched the platform. I mean, it's incredible. 6 years.
A lot of ground in 6 years too. Congrats. That's woo.
Appreciate that, man. Yeah. Thank you. Appreciate it, my brother. Thank you for being a pivotal part in everything that we've been able to accomplish. Market Mondays has become a staple. Blackout is a cultural phenomenon. So I appreciate you dearly.
Appreciate you as well. Thank you for answering my message when I raised my hand too. You know what I mean?
That's a fact. That's a fact.
Oh, man.
Gotta be quick.
That's a fact.
That's a fact.
Anything that you would like to say, Ian?
If you want to get rich from the market, go to ianinvest.com. Stock Club call this week will be on Friday at 5 p.m. Central. Everybody in Houston, stay safe. as we're going through like a little freeze snow warning. City don't have no salt truck, so city of Houston. If I made you money, please put yes in chat. Tune in to Blackout. We're gonna give you Suge Shoddy and Leather Jacket vibes. Smoothie King, all the shit y'all want to cover. Cool. Republicans, tune in too. We got some insights for you. And if you're a black man, never call a white man your daddy unless that's your base boss. But you went too far. You went to not have no seats at the inauguration.
A little too far.
Strip your seats.
Come on, bro. Barron don't call Melania don't call him daddy.
And he's from Brooklyn.
That's really? Don't run from that. Can't run from that. Yeah, he is from Brooklyn. Yeah. It's gonna be a special one. There's so much to talk about.
There's a lot,
and there's a lot of things that is gonna happen between now and then. So
that's a fact.
Gotta catch it all.
Yeah.
Hey yo.
Disclaimer.
Yeah. I prefaced it. Thank you.
Got you.
Shout out to everybody in EYLU. Shout out to the Red Panda family. People are really changing their lives, bro. Like every stop we went to, people, again and again, talking about how they overcame debt, how they invest in. Somebody in the audience in New Orleans is talking about they've been watching market monies, they 10x their portfolio. Shout out to everybody that's executing on the information. But y'all know how this works, man. Do your own research. This is our disclaimer. Our content is intended to be used and must be used for informational purposes only. It's very important to do your own analysis before making any investment based on your own personal circumstances. You should take independent financial advice from a professional in connection with, or independently research and verify any information that you find on our show and wish to rely upon, whether for the purpose of making an investment decision or otherwise. Continue to do the research, share the research, and give love where you found it. Love is love. That's how we build community. That's how we grow as one. Let's keep going. This Thursday, EYLU, we back. I got my class.
Options class?
Got a class.
Yeah, everybody that, what time is it?
7 o'clock on Thursday. 7 o'clock on Thursday, we will be back in session. Ian, I'm going to let them know what I've been telling you about. We're gonna break that down for them.
He got one for real.
Okay.
So everybody that got into that free offer that we had last week, as far as 30 days, make sure you check out the option class this Thursday at 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
Vitally important. So all right, let's get into it. It's a lot to talk about. The first thing definitely want to cover is obviously Trump dropped his meme coin a few days ago. Skyrocketed, made a lot of people a lot of money, and then crashed. So this is an interesting situation, right? Where you have the president of the United States using his power and influence 2 days before he actually gets elected to affect the financial markets to come out with an unregulated security and boost it, and then quickly drops sharply afterwards. Classic rug pull type situation. So I thought that this was interesting. It's one of these things where they said like a wallet linked to the coin sold $32 million worth of tokens minutes after the launch without ever buying any. So okay, here's
pre-ICO.
Here's how these things
exactly
work. And this is the thing. You put out a meme coin, you have obviously a bunch of them because you are the one that actually creates it, right? And then right away it skyrockets. You sell it, and it's like almost the quickest thing. It's printing money. It's literally like it's just printing money, right? And then people buy it because they see the momentum of everything happening, and somebody gets caught holding the bag at the end. Dumbest fool theory. So what's the thoughts on the Trump meme coin?
Positives and negatives.
Yeah, the positives for him is he's going to find a loophole. So I had a lot of people actually when we were at the event Friday was like, well, is this illegal? And I'm like, technically, yes. That's why we always say trading has considerable risk. Please consult your advisors. For those who made money, now I know a few people who made some money from it, and people are like, well, should I invest into it or should I not? And my thing is, if you're going to invest in a speculative investment, if you're not getting in early, this is for IPOs, ICOs. If you're not getting in below 20, you usually are too late. By the time it was like hitting social media and Twitter and Instagram, you probably got in too late. I'm seeing people who I never saw talk about investing. I'm saying the Trump coin is next, and then the sector rotation after the coin dropped, then Melania has the coin. We were talking Barron coin may be the coin to get.
Right, by the end of this episode, right?
For sure. So you have to be careful. Now, if you're African American or if you're Democrat, some of you are asking, is it right for me to invest in this coin? If you get it at the right price and you exit quickly, that's up to you. But at what point do you stand on morals over money? Especially if you've been watching the show. Great run up. I know the percentages are amazing, but we've given you plenty of opportunities to make a lot of money with a lot of other investments. I would just say be careful. I see it going back down to $11. So if you want to wait and be patient, you can pick a lot up at 11, but I wouldn't be buying in the 40s or 30s for sure.
Yeah. Congrats to anyone who made money, first and foremost.
For sure.
A couple of things from both sides of it. Number one, it does put a stamp on the space, right? For sure, right? We saw after the coin got released, I think it ran up to a $30 billion valuation in 24 hours, which is absolutely insane. Inversely, we saw Bitcoin go up to 109, right? Like it now, the president of the United States has a coin. So the space is solidified. The regulation part is very interesting. And this is what happens when you can control things, right? Like if I want to make sure that this is something that is going to be legal, I'll create a czar for cryptocurrency.
And put him in my cabinet. Yes.
Put him in my cabinet, the cabinet that didn't exist before. And we will write legislation so that going forward, it will be.
Yeah.
That's the danger of it, right? You're talking about a coin that had no ICO, initial coin offering. I haven't even seen a white paper. So when we're talking about, these things don't exist, right? So,
but he said it's a meme coin. He didn't try to say it was a.
I know I'm talking about because most people that are going to invest in it have no idea of cryptocurrency and no idea of Bitcoin specifically, but they have even less an idea of what a meme coin is. So they're just uneducatedly just investing, right? Those are the things that we're looking for if we're going to invest in it. I know we say stay in the top two.
Yeah.
When we see money, it felt like this was the lottery. In a sense, it was like, all right, we're going to put our dollar in, and hopefully, if it makes something, it does. If we lose money, our job has always been like, hey, let's educate them first. And let's look at long-term investing. If you make money, great. If you traded on it, great. Is it something that I'm looking to invest to? Probably not, right? For those cases, but positive, negative. Can you make it? Yeah, you can. And I guess the Melania and the junior coin will be next. It's so speculative that it becomes almost dangerous. Right, because by the time we figure out, the guy who put in $1 million and made 90, who is he?
You got to liquidate because you're gonna have liquidity issues trying to get all that money out.
Right. As soon as we try to sell it, it's going to be like, well, how do we get it out? But again, 2 days later, it's on Coinbase. 2 days later, it's on Robinhood. So you got major platforms that are making it available because they saw the volatility spike and people are trying to figure out where to go. When it initially came out, you couldn't go there. So they're looking at it from a standpoint of, we got to get some money off of this too.
And you also contributed to the campaign, so you didn't get your hair cut off. Smart investment. Kudos to Brian Armstrong. Fight. Listen, I know I gave him a lot of ish the last 2 or 3 years, but he's found a way to fight back and stay alive. As an entrepreneur, you have to commend that. I saw Kraken sponsored the inauguration. It was Crypto Ball that Snoop and Ross was at. Top words there about it. Shout out to Uncle Snoop. I got some texts. It was like, forgot we knew some people who was in that camp. But my thing is, anytime you get into something speculative, you have to. Most important lesson: know when you're going to exit. Please know when you're going to exit. Stay in 12 hours maximum. Get out, get your coins. But if everyone's like, yo, it dipped. Now's the time to buy the dip. Buy the dip is not a strategy. You need a mathematical calculation for when to buy. So.
Well, the thing about this is that it's okay. So this is the reality of the situation. Donald Trump is a businessman who values money probably more than anything else, right? And people around him value money. His sons, cabinet members, different things of that nature. They see an opportunity to make money in a very short period of time by putting out a meme coin and then pulling the rug. That, for all intents and purposes,
allegedly.
That for all intents and purposes is illegal. It's no different from what Hatua did, right? Like, we can't dress this up to make it seem like
Hatua chick,
whatever her name is.
Yeah.
This we can't make this seem anything different than what it is. It's an effort to get uneducated investors to play off of momentum, to buy into something with the intention to sell. If you create something a day ago, put it on the market, dump it as soon as it goes on the market, that's different from bringing a company public, and that's completely different. This goes back to why all the venture capital funds started to invest in all of these blockchain companies, because they saw a pathway with ICOs to skip through regulation, to skip through actually creating a real company and raising money and doing all of that, when you can literally just come up with a name, an idea. If you have somebody that's pushing it that has a following, you can dump it upon the public. The only people that's really going to win big is the people that's on the inside circle that actually know about this. So it's like we tell our friends, we tell our close friends, like, yo, this is what you're going to do. You're going to get the shares. And then even if you buy into it, I mean, by the time you can actually buy and sell it, it's too late.
Yep.
So the only people that really win are the people that's on the inside of the situation. That, for all intents and purposes, is illegal.
Yes, and just to reiterate that, we've seen that happen. You said with Hawk too, but this is the same thing that happened with Floyd. We saw that happen with Kim Kardashian.
They got in trouble for that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So this is no different. But this speaks to the times that we're in, and it speaks to what's going to be the norm over the next 4 years. So it is what it is, but we can't act like it's something that it's not.
No, it definitely. What you just explained is exactly what it is. The only question is, when you're the person that is in charge of the rules, you're picking the SEC chair, and you're czar of quote unquote cryptocurrency, now makes policy that maybe it's not illegal, and you're found nothing is guilty there. Then what?
Nothing's going to stop.
More meme coins to come. Yeah, I would assume.
And we were talking about it before we started, but I wouldn't be surprised if he looks at the landscape of the big Mag 7 and makes his own to ETF in a year and a half. Because you already know the power players who are donated, and you know what inducements they have, and we need these companies to do well. I think this meme coin also speaks to the fragility of the economy, that people know that the investment is no good, but they're putting, like Ish called me, one of his friends put his last $23,000 into it. He made $300,000.
Which one?
Yeah, congrats. But what if it went negative?
Yeah.
And now you lost everything, but people are feeling like, well, where else can I go? And we missed the Tesla trade. We missed the NVIDIA trade. We missed the MicroStrategy trade. And I'm sure Trump saw the Hawk to a girl get that BS off and be like, if I got David Sachs over here and Gensler out of here, to the moon.
Yeah. Last year we saw it when True Social went public. Yeah. Same situation. Literally same exact situation. It was a belief of followers saying, like, we want to invest in you. Who cares what the actual product is? We just want to invest in you. And True Social, we saw it ran up. It had a crazy fall, but it stayed above a price average, which guaranteed he was locked in at a certain amount. He made over $7 billion from it. We'll see if this even gets recorded of how much he made.
You know, this thing is gonna fall apart. It just depends on how fast.
Yeah, and how much he's made already.
Yeah,
and then you have Solana
to use his own wallet.
Solana that hit an all-time high, came back down, but when Melania dropped her coin, it was on Solana platform. So that made Solana. Now Solana is a coin that's actually not a meme coin.
True.
But
Mike Novogratz had talked about that 2 years ago on our platform. We talked about that a few months ago on our platform.
Yep.
And so this is affecting the overall crypto market outside of just the meme coin. But Bitcoin went to, I think, 105, pulled back a little bit. Solana,
103 right now.
Solana hit an all-time high.
Yep.
So the crypto industry is already starting to rally. We saw Rick Ross and Snoop perform at the crypto event. That was a crypto event. So
yeah, Kraken sponsored.
The crypto industry is already starting to rally. So with this, okay, so now we gotta say is incidents like this good or bad for crypto? In my opinion, this is actually bad for crypto because now you're making it more of a joke than anything. You're highlighting the dangers of it, and it's not something that you want to do if you really want something to be certified as standard. Is to do scams, for lack of a better word. Like you're doing a scam on day one, not even day one yet. You're doing a scam before you even get in the presidency. You run a crypto scam to get $60 million real quick. That's not helpful. That can't be helpful for legitimate crypto projects or for the overall crypto community as a whole. But it's going to be a lot of that's happening. So what is the pathway forward for cryptocurrency over these next 12 months?
Ironically enough, I think after the proceeds and profits are taken from these two coins, I think David Sachs will have an important role, and I think he'll introduce some regulation to prevent others from being able to do this. Because actually, if we are in war and we're trying to cause a red wave throughout the entire world, I got to make regulations to stop competitors and those who can take my seat away. So I think that they are aware of the blowback. I think they'll actually put some regulation in place, and then there'll be a coin. Now, the interesting part is, what if Elon comes out with a coin and it actually has utility? That's the part where I'm like, okay, great. Yes, it was a money grab. We're not going to deny that. But with that council that he's built on crypto, and even when I was calling like the BlackRock and Vanguard would be involved, I never thought it would get this far. Like all the decentralization and everything that crypto stood on 2 or 3 years ago, that shit is out of the window.
All right. Can we stay there for 2 seconds, Ian? Because this is important. As you're saying this, and I'm looking at these numbers, Trump coin is trading, is the number 24 coin on coin marketplace. $30 billion market cap, right? This is more than retail. This is not like you and I investing in this.
Yeah.
So from an institutional side, how is it getting to this number in 3 days?
What do you mean? Okay, we have a person in New York who lived during a mob era who operates like a mob boss. It's very cool. So them same institutions who donated, hey, you know, we got inauguration on MLK Day. You better support my coin, or you know. I won't say who, but one of them CEOs have to go to Mar-a-Lago and apologize 25 times in front of his family. Or I'm going to put the Department of Justice on you and, quote unquote, fuck up your life. Sorry to the parents, quote unquote, journalistic integrity.
So this is a couple of institutions for sure that have to be involved. Sure. Retail's not getting us to 30 billion.
Oh no.
There's a lot of people though. You gotta realize, you know, once they think, oh, the president of the United States has his own coin, it's gonna go to the moon. It's back. You know, it's backed by America. That's how people was thinking about it. Like, oh, this is the American coin. This is the president. Like, there's never been a
sure.
I'm with you.
There's a lot of international buy-in to your point.
It's unprecedented territory. A president has never backed an investment before publicly, to my knowledge, ever in the history of America. So this is the first time ever in the history of America that a president has publicly backed an investment with his name on it. Of course, it's going to go up. How could it not go up? Like,
I don't argue that point. I'm just saying to the level.
I think it's a lot of retail investors.
But some smaller institutions has probably got drug in as if I'm a crypto platform, I won't say one because I don't want to get them in trouble, and I'm trying to make my way in, because if you're on the outside of the circle, we all can agree you have higher probability of having volatility in your stock in these first 24 months. Maybe I will tell some of my buddies, say, you should take a look at this.
Yeah, because even from the standpoint of like, this happened on a Saturday, right? Like this Trump coins happened on a Saturday. For a retail investor to allocate that type of money, to move that through traditional banks, to get it to, how many people would have to do that on the weekend for this valuation to run up to that level? It almost feels like that feels allegedly, unless there's institutional backing that knew about it beforehand. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
allegedly.
Allegedly, I don't want no problems.
Crypto's 24 hours a day.
That's true,
and it's worldwide.
Yes.
So you see people in Asia, you see people like when the news breaks that Trump has a coin, of course the crypto community is going to rally behind it globally. It's 24 hours a day already.
Yes.
So I mean, I don't think that that's out of the realm of possibility that retail investors push something because they've been waiting. GameStop, last time that really had a real run was during the pandemic. But so now they've been waiting for a moment, a meme coin moment to make,
But even that was influenced by the hedge funds.
True. That's the point I'm saying, right? Like even when let's say in
I think both are right.
Right? Like we experienced this in 2018 when 2017, late 2017, where we were trying to get to the bank to get money to now put into that's what I'm saying. So like on a Saturday at 6:00, that opportunity is not there. That money had to have been there.
No, what I'm saying is this.
Yeah.
If you're in the crypto world, you have money already. Or you have
already allocated.
So you sell Bitcoin, you got it. I don't think the mass majority of people is trying to put money into their account because people that are buying these coins are in the crypto world. The average person on Robinhood couldn't even get it. It wasn't on Robinhood. It wasn't on Coinbase. So this isn't your average run of the day, weekend crypto investor. This is the crypto bro. This is the bros. This is the people that's actually in the space. And you're in the space, you're not going to Chase Bank to put 10,000. You already have the money in there.
Yeah, I'm saying that, and that again, I think we're both saying similar things. The average person is not invested in crypto. Less than 5% of people have allocation in it, right? And so that's a small percentage of the people who obviously the overall population, but even more so that have that level of income to invest those amounts to see this run up. That's all.
Yeah, both of you are right. Institution caused the initial rise, and then retail took it over the top and added social media flair to it and posting about it.
But there was also a lot of wealthy people. Like I said, the people that make money on this is the people that's on the inside. So he's on the inside, obviously. His children's on the inside, but it doesn't just stop there. He knows a lot of rich people. So if the whole crypto, they threw a ball for him, right? You don't think that those people knew about it? He's the crypto.
Allegedly.
Who's the first platform?
I'm thinking deposition. I'm not trying to cut you off.
Who's the first platform that had it? We should look into that.
But what I'm saying is that all the crypto world probably got the memo. Yo, this is about to happen. Make sure you get ready.
Maybe
even with at the book, I mentioned Solana. Cool. It was some people in Houston like, yo, what you think of? There was some little rumblings going around. I agree. I was just thinking,
as a whole, crypto. I mean, this says this is a telltale sign of what's going to happen in 2025. I think that's what I said before.
For sure.
I think Bitcoin is going to be the year of Bitcoin, and MicroStrategy is going to benefit from that.
For sure.
That's a stock that's directly related to Bitcoin's volatility. And then, we saw Solana. We see how that continues. XRP. We haven't talked about XRP yet. That's at an all-time high.
Over 3. Yep.
So
what? No, finish that.
Ethereum still waiting for a breakout on Ethereum, but
Ethereum's been quiet.
Here's the interesting part, right? Like we saw all this happen during the weekend in the space. The market was closed today, obviously for the holiday. What do you think the market looks like tomorrow when it opens? Now that the president has now been sworn in, and obviously,
I think tech and oil are going to be on fire. Once again, stocks of the year, Amazon's going to do well, Meta's going to do well. After Mark Zuckerberg get cussed out by Priscilla. Mark, keep your eyes on your own paper.
Smiling too much, man. Stop smiling too much.
Giggling. Ooh, no leche on the 21st. You know what I mean? Oil will go up, but I think we're seeing it. We're seeing I've never in an inauguration seen so many tech CEOs prominent and displayed. It was whatever they gave them, it was worth the investment, just from the press alone. But knowing, and something that you guys have both brought up, the number of government contracts that they're getting on the back end that I don't think the public is talking about yet. The next 4 years in terms of profits are locked in for them.
You gotta think that the 3 richest people was in attendance, sitting next to each other.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
You had Elon Musk. You had Jeff Bezos. You had Mark Zuckerberg sitting next to each other. Then you had Tim Cook was there. Sam Altman was there.
Yeah, Sam was there.
CEO
of Google.
Yeah.
Yep. So
Sundar.
Everybody has to pay homage to him. And this next 4 years is going to be the wild, wild west. But if you're an entrepreneur,
For sure.
at the highest level possible, of course, you're going to benefit from it. And it's going to be deregulation. It's going to be open markets. And this whole crypto thing is a precursor to what's going to happen.
Absolutely.
It's going to be so much deregulation. It's going to be astonishing. So that's going to be good for crypto, but that's also going to be good for financial companies, the banking sector. You got to think that they would like deregulation for sure. And like you said, tech, big tech, for sure.
Tech is going to fly.
Yeah, all these antitrust lawsuits that Google has had, and they just hit Elon Musk with a lawsuit before the administration left. Another one. He's been having lawsuits forever. Mark Zuckerberg lived in front of Congress at one point in time. He's up in Congress every day. So all of these privacy data breaches and all of this stuff, like Elizabeth Warren has been championed since the beginning. You got to think that as long as the Democrats have a minority and the Republicans hold the House, the Senate, the presidency, and the Supreme Court, that's important too. Because when these things go to the actual judicial system, you know, they're gonna win in the courts. So you got to think
lobbying too.
This is going to be great for Bitcoin. This is going to be great for crypto. This is going to be great for big tech,
for
oil,
energy,
yeah,
military, defense,
cybersecurity. Yeah, all the above. Y'all left out two CEOs. We had Dara from Uber, who was in attendance.
Sure, shout to Dara.
And we had Zing Chow from TikTok.
The TikTok.
Oh man, how happy you think he was to be in attendance?
Hit the like button.
Incredible. Like, I grew up a wrestling fan, so when they be like, "Yo, Hulk Hogan won't be at WrestleMania 3," and you happen, like, this was a work from the beginning. Surprise guest. This reminded me like when I hurt my leg in Toronto, just like Ian won't be here, and then here y'all roll me out. You know what I mean?
The guy who started the band saved the band. Is that I mean,
legendary. Sometimes we talked about it in Houston. Sometimes you have to demonize an asset so you can take control of it and then monetize it.
Yo, that's the caption right there, bro.
That's a fact.
That is the caption.
I do want to talk about TikTok, but I want to wait for 19 Keys to come on for that conversation.
Yeah, let's wait.
That's an interesting conversation to have. But let's talk about some stocks, because I know people want to know how they can benefit, how they can, you know, we said this a million times, but
they want MAGA money in 25.
Yeah, what are the stocks? What are the stocks?
MAGA money.
What are the stocks that's going to benefit from Trump's being in office?
I mean, we saw them sit next to him. Meta, for sure. Google, for sure. Amazon's going to do incredibly well. Google will be in that B tier when OpenAI goes public, to the moon. Anduril to the moon. Nvidia. And even though they had their kerfuffle, Tim Cook showed up. That tells you. Like, that's why I said, I know Trump has to look at that and say, okay, yeah, you did donate to me, but I'm helping you make billions more. You highlighted this on Breakfast Club. Elon, of course, is obvious in Tesla for sure. But if I give you 100 million and I make 100 billion, that return is worth it. Trump is a businessman. I know at some point he has to think, what if I put them into my own ETF? Because he is the catalyst for them going higher the next 4 years. So sometimes the obvious picks are right in front of your face. They were illustrated and got a lot of TV time. Even in the donation, I'm like, did they negotiate how much time and press they would get next to him? How much has Tesla went up since he announced he would be assistant? Elon, and one day we got to have a conversation about Elon's masterful plan of taking over the country is working.
It's in line. It's in line. I'm gonna add a few more. I think Palantir plays a role from a standpoint of surveillance and government contracts. But we said this before, man. You could break it down into categories from a defense standpoint, and that's been huge. Protect the country, protect the borders. So Lockheed Martin for sure. RTX is another one. When you look at the amount, we're talking about billions of dollars that have been allocated for them in contracting. The financial sector, which we just alluded to. I mean, we saw what Goldman did when they reported last week.
Yeah.
Deregulate
BlackRock, JP Morgan.
Exactly. JP, those would be my top two, Goldman and JP. Then infrastructure, I think Caterpillar. I mean,
for sure.
It's primes, right? We already talked about the home crisis, the housing crisis. They're going to build more. Those are the type of companies you got to be looking at. Obviously, the Mag 7s make a lot of sense, but start breaking it down by sectors that have extreme interest from the administration, right? Those are them. I'll be interested to see what he does with the CHIP Act. I know they said that they were going to repeal it. I doubt that they will, but pay attention to what they do with that. And energy. I mean, we spoke about energy. We talked about VRT. We talked about Vista as well. These stocks aren't going anywhere. Administration approval. We cannot lose the race when it comes to artificial intelligence. How are we going to do it? We got to build data centers. We got to power those data centers. We have to have connectivity to those data centers. Those are all going to be in play.
And also watch the CEOs who are doing interviews that are speaking positively about how Trump will impact our economy, and they hated him 4 or 8 years ago.
Well, there hasn't been one high-profile CEO that has spoke out negatively about Trump at all.
And if I lived in the 1970s and lived next to John Gotti, I wouldn't say nothing bad about Gotti either.
We got to make it. We got to make it.
You got to just see it through.
Yeah,
it's almost it's a risk to the company and to your tenure under leadership to do so right now, because he has too much control right now to even have as an enemy.
Okay, let's talk about Barron's pick of the year, their stocks of the year.
Whew.
They have some. Listen, the point, and I love Barron's, one of my favorite publications to read. But I want to highlight a lesson before we go through the picks now. Sometimes sticking with the thing that is working is much better than chasing something new. I've been watching this list for the last 3 or 4 years, and when you go through the picks, there have been a lot of misses on here. I love all the analysts there, and stock picking is a tough game. Even some of the greatest hedge fund managers don't always pick the best stocks. But the core lesson I want to illustrate here tonight: if you have a formula or a system that works, stick with it for at least a half decade. There's no reason to rotate every 6 months or a year. Yeah. But some of the go ahead, Troy.
Let's run down a few of them if we can. Let's start with the top, man. CPNG, Coupang. I've heard about this company maybe 5 years ago. It reminded me, or on paper, was supposed to be, I hate to say the Amazon of a region.
But that was a comparison that was being made.
That was a fair comparison, right? We're talking about the online retail space. They have it as one of their top 10 stocks of the year. What are your thoughts on this, man?
Impossible. Especially, I just saw Jeff being buddy, and him and Lauren together looking happy next to Trump. And right now, China still is uninvestable for me until we'll talk about Trump and Xi Jinping's new bromance for each other and how they're going to save the world together. But most Chinese stocks, like if I won't touch Alibaba, I can't touch this one. So no.
Yeah, Alibaba hasn't recovered since that whole Jack Ma situation, and then they're deciding to split into 6 different companies, and that didn't pass. They just haven't really figured it out. They have a firm on the list as well. Ticker AFRM. This is that buy now, pay later. That was huge in 2021, 2022. Obviously had a stiff pullback. What's your thoughts around the firm now?
Haven't been the biggest fan of PayPal. I would probably invest in PayPal before I would them. If I can get it back at $13, and if a stock isn't a great company, if it's like 10% from its all-time low, I would take a look there, but I wouldn't. This probably wouldn't even make my top 20.
Not in the top 20.
And for context, when I'm talking about a stock, can I buy it, not worry about it for 2 or 3 years, and know that it's going to give me a positive return without worrying about it? It doesn't fit that classification.
How about Philip Morris? This is the one that kind of gets left out when we're talking about the oil industry. We always talk about Chevron. We talk about Exxon. What about Philip Morris? What's your thoughts around it?
It's too high. I like it below 109. Out of the list of companies that they picked It's probably the best of breed, but just for like more reasons, I wouldn't want to touch it. But it is a good stock if you're just looking without morality. Sub 109, I like it. And once again, you're probably the only stock in this list from Barron's that is like a guaranteed win. It's too high right now, though.
All right.
But even if you look over the last 5 years, it's only up $32.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, there's a common theme with the ones that they picked. I'm just like, they've had horrible, not even like bad. They've had like really horrible misses on the past 2 to 3 years. Maybe they're picking them on the idea that this is the rebound or the economy is changing with a new administration. So here is like dart at the wall.
Yeah.
But yeah, that common theme is there. Let's talk about LAZ, Lazard.
Very rocky. 2005 it got to a high of 54. 2013 it got to 55. 27 it got to 51. It's currently at 51. Don't love it. And here's the thing that please write this in chat. You only need 4 or 5 great stocks. Sometimes, like, okay, there's a reason when you guys do InvestFest every year, right? You don't do another festival because the one you're doing is working. Like, can you guys stress the importance of, like, once you have, and I tell entrepreneurs this all the time, once you have something that's working, the next investment should be more capital into the thing that's working. Not, well, how can I make a InvestFest for OnlyFans models? That ain't it. The CapEx on that is not going to be what you think it is. The return, like, no, put in chat, I will stick in 25 with what's working. So Lazard, no. It's a good trade. If it gets back down to 34, I wouldn't mind taking a shot at it on a swing trade, but I wouldn't give it as a good long-term investment. InvestFest for OnlyFans coming next January, blackout edition.
Blackout fast.
Yeah.
Let's do one more. Ticker SJM, JM Smucker Company. Yes, that Smucker Company, your jelly, your peanut butter, all that. You're talking about over the past 5 years. 5 years ago, they were trading at $102. Today, they are trading at $102. There's been some ups and downs, obviously, within that. But this is, I mean, huh?
Yeah, and especially with RFK being in office and which I do like him combating some of the obesity issues in food companies, it wouldn't be the right time to invest in a company like this. Shout out to the food babe who's pushed that issue to get red dye number 3.
Now banned
our food system. Yeah, banned. So that's an effect. But no.
So okay.
I know sometimes we have a desire to want more, but more isn't the answer you want best. There's not another OpenAI. There's not another NVIDIA. Lockheed is solid. When Anduril becomes public, to the moon. Unless you were insider with Trump coins, not the move.
So
I thought y'all just was in love with quantum.
Switch.
I ain't you finna tickle. You don't know because you fell off. Oh, y'all give a fuck about quantum, and next week is gonna be something else. Okay. No.
The first thing when people talk about quantum, and I know that's one of the things you look at, especially when evaluating a company, is like, go look at the profit margin.
Please.
The amount of money
computer company shouldn't have a negative profit margin. If you can crack every password on earth, how haven't you made no money? What?
Like negative, deep in the
negative 72%. Like what? Well, they have to build the solar panels in Arizona. Okay.
We just know profitability is likely though.
Yeah, not good.
So let's take a question from the audience. What are your thoughts on 2x leverage ETFs? If you're a young investor with at least 20 years left to buy and hold.
Trading has considerable risk. Please consult your advisor. I think they are good if you have your core down, your core 4 or 5 stocks, and you have a separate account for riskier investments. I would not put it in a main account. I would not make this a main investment. And if we're going to be honest, a lot of those levered ETFs are not given the same gains as NVIDIA or Tesla or some stocks that may be pricier, or literally the last 3 or 4 years. I remember one SVXY a few years ago, maybe 8 years ago. Same was incredibly popular, and then it went from I think $200 to $18 in maybe a month. You have to be very careful. These have a lot more risk associated with them. And I get it. Maybe in 2009, 2015, you needed those. But you can't tell me that a levered ETF is a better investment than Bitcoin. On a slow year, Bitcoin may give you 72%. So in high returns, you still want low volatility. You got to be very careful. So for all of you who are trying to do it off MicroStrategy or NVIDIA, don't do it out of your main account. You can just make more money off of the main one. What do you guys think?
I think wise words from a decent man. I always tell people that it's like we try to get as much money as quick as possible, but sometimes we got to educate ourselves and really be disciplined. It's like this is the plan. Let's have our core, right? Like most people are still trying to figure out what an ETF is. Let's start there. Let's figure out which ones are great. Let's figure out which companies are great that sit inside these ETFs. When we start, hey, I heard that this new way to do this, it gets tricky, and people are going to lose money doing it. So create a plan that's stable and be disciplined with that. And then after you've educated yourself in it, maybe try to test the waters, but jumping into this right away.
You don't got to listen to me. Pelosi, Google, Amazon, NVIDIA, VSTTEM. You don't have to believe me. Believe her and her husband. She hadn't put no money in them lever ETFs. Not $1 out of 35 million her and her husband put into the market.
Running.
Follow the money.
Oh.
Diddy invented the remix, not y'all.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Buff may be out soon.
might be.
Might be.
If not, he might be out in 4 years.
Take that.
If you know, you know.
Yep.
If you know,
I don't know.
You've been making some calls.
I don't know. I don't know, y'all.
If you know, you know.
Oh, boy, been on.
Everything's for sale. Okay, let's bring our guest up.
Oh man, here we go.
Yo.
Peace to the family. Peace to the family, man.
Brother, how you doing?
Hey, what's good, my brother?
Man, how y'all doing, man? It feels good to be back here.
New scenery out here. I like what's going on here, man.
Oh yeah, man. We had a few upgrades since the last time I was on Market Mondays.
You shooting at 12K now? I see
it, man. It almost looked like this is artificial intelligence, but this is really him in the flesh.
This is natural intelligence.
That's a bar. That's a bar.
Oh man, welcome back, man. First and foremost.
Man, what a day, man. How we feeling today?
Feeling glorious, man.
Good.
Feeling good, man.
Blessings and opportunities. So first off, I want to talk about TikTok. Let's start at TikTok, right? So TikTok CEO was at the inauguration today, and me and you spoke offline, and I was just saying that the way that Trump has been putting these plays together is actually pretty legendary, right? So he champions the ban for TikTok 4 years ago, and then Biden picks that up, and the Democrats and the Republicans all pick it up, and it builds steam for years. And as he's running for president, he's saying that, okay, I'm gonna reverse this if it actually happens, and he builds a lot of momentum with the TikTokers, young people, and behind the scenes he's working. So Biden plays right along with the play, and actually enacts the ban that happens on Sunday. Was that?
Well, Supreme Court did.
Well, he pushed that all the way through.
Yeah.
And 24 hours later, TikTok was back. If you have the app, and from what I heard, Trump was already working on this with the president of China and the CEO of TikTok and some of his wealthy friends, where they're going to announce a 50-50 JV deal.
Yeah.
Where it's going to be 50% U.S. ownership, 50% Chinese ownership.
I think you breaking news for a lot of people, by the way.
Yeah, because the part of it being back was it's a 90-day trial in order for it to have U.S. ownership, 50%. So that part that you're saying.
Yeah, the 50-50 JV deal. And so now, long story short, Trump brings it back. He's a hero. all of the young TikTokers, because people was calling 911 because they was having mental health.
That's crazy.
Mental health emergencies. So Trump, once again, that's one of the rules of marketing, right? Create a crisis to solve a crisis, and then market yourself as the savior.
And put your name in the press release.
Well, he's done this a few times. The stimulus checks actually got held up because he had to put his name on the checks. And psychologically, to this day, people equate that with him saving the economy. And then when I logged on TikTok personally yesterday, what I saw was thanks to President Trump's efforts, TikTok is back. I'm pretty sure he told them that has to be in that.
Oh, for sure.
And every single person that has TikTok saw that. So, okay, Keys, what's the deal with the TikTok situation?
I mean, this was obviously a manufactured play for power, right? Donald Trump knows how to line up wins, and he seems to be somebody who's had a really good strategy from the beginning. First of all, you got to look at TikTok, right? And look at America, right? America is not creating enough jobs. According to the WEF report, 85 million jobs would be displaced due to automation, right? And productivity is at an all-time low. So human capital in the U.S. is at an all-time low. Not only that, there's wage suppression. People don't want to get jobs. They don't want to work the jobs that people actually need. And you got robotics, you got automation, you got artificial intelligence, and you got alien immigrants. The younger generation are the largest size, the Gen Z. They represent somewhere around 45 to 50% of TikTok, right? Now, with America not being able to create jobs for that generation, even though the WEF report also said that 97 million new jobs will be created. Created, they have to say, because they're going to be generated by the young minds, those who know how to take advantage of AI, automation, the new era and the new shift of the world that's coming. The question becomes, can America even afford to get rid of TikTok? To me, the answer was always no. I've been saying this from the beginning. They're going to have to work something out because TikTok became the American dream for the younger generation, right? They seen the opportunity where creativity meets opportunity to where they can jump on a platform and they can figure out how to make a living, right? To where the average person could become a superstar. We've seen that with Keith Lee, right? He was able to help countless and countless of businesses to become a worldwide superstar all off of TikTok, right? So therefore, the younger generation has been completely dependent upon this Chinese software and the algorithm that they created, because TikTok has created the best algorithm out of all platforms by far, which is why there was no viable replacement for TikTok. So of course, Donald Trump wants to manufacture his wins. So that's why they had to have this dramatic one-day close so that the reopening, you know what I'm saying, can all be on his back.
The grand opening, grand closing play. It was well played out. But speaking of who was going to, benefit from it, the early thoughts was obviously Meta's going to play a big role in it. And we saw some of these apps, most of them are Chinese, right? We ByteDance, they try to ban TikTok. Most of the Chinese apps started replacing it.
And the Chinese apps.
That's what I want to go to, right? Even with the idea of banning TikTok, that security, the data play, it still led to Chinese companies and Chinese apps still being the top 4 or 5 inside it. So what are your thoughts around the hoopla of like, hey, and there was people with champion, like, we don't care if they have our data. What's your thoughts around that?
Well, number one, we live in globalism. You know what I mean? Like, the borders have now changed. Like, children all around the world are connecting with each other. So the younger generation don't just see in nationalism. They don't just see themselves in America, right? They see themselves, number one, in the digital age on the internet, right? To where they interact with all different ethnicity, races, and groups of people. So the globalist mind of the younger generation is different than the nationalist mind of the boomer generation. So for them, they don't care where it comes from as long as they have the ability to be able to use it. You got apps like HiPic. Of course, the number one was CapCut because everybody utilizes that for their editing, right? But China seems to have some of the best software and technology when it comes for the younger generation wanting to be able to use it. So essentially, if they do got our data, they listening to what our needs are, and then they creating the type of applications that we actually want to use. Where a lot of American companies, we see them are slow to innovate. Right? The things that we ask them to create, they never create. So China comes in and say, well, hey, this is what our app does. You want something with a better algorithm? You want something more popular? You want something with the best editing features that you can get that infuses AI into it that allow you to be able to create more? They've generated a whole entire ecosystem. and it is the best tool. So I think American companies need to pay attention to that, because the younger generation does not have loyalty to American companies. They're going to what's best in class.
Ian, can I just ask a follow-up really quickly?
Of course, go ahead.
You brought up CapCut, and interesting, that gets shut down. But then the next day, this company called Meta has an alternative version. We see Zuckerberg at the inauguration. We already know he's pledged allegiance to Trump. How much collusion is happening here in between these two?
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
All of the alleged collusion that can happen is happening. At the highest level you could possibly allegedly collude, they colluded. But I want to say with Meta, they slow again to innovate. They should have had an app ready to roll out, right? We've been hearing about this for months and months and months. So why would they be talking about announcing something that would release in weeks when it's not a better alternative, viable option for people who just want to use CapCut, right? If they really wanted to be competitive, then they would have created the app already. But that goes into this whole thing, right? Back to globalism. People are going to go what's best for them if they have access to it. They don't have any sense of loyalty to Meta or any other American company. But I already know on the back end, Donald Trump has now solidified control over all social media platforms.
Absolutely.
TikTok being the last one that he needed, right? Everybody was there at the inauguration to kiss the ring. And they did. This inauguration raised the most money, something around what they say, 200 million or something like that. More than any other inauguration in history. Everybody has to come and pay their dues. So this is not a new playbook. So this, if you study history, then this playbook has happened before in somebody else's regime, to where you get all dissenting voices, any powers that can possibly be against you, you get them in check and under control. So that's going to completely get out all of this left wing, right, and radical left wing thought process. That's why he directly went for the gender play. And that's why Zuckerberg talking about he want to have corporate masculinity, whatever that means. But I think that was a shot at him taking it at Steve Jobs and OpenAI, because
that's definitely interesting that you said, because obviously, well, if people may not know, Tim Cook is gay. So it's interesting that Mark Zuckerberg kicked Donald Trump off of Instagram 4 years ago.
Yeah.
So now when he went to go Mar-a-Lago, Donald Trump said, if I wasn't president, would you be here? And they laughed. So how I'm looking at this is that when somebody wants to join a gang, you make them prove their loyalty.
Go crash out.
Tim Cook is the only CEO that has not dropped the DEI program. Major, like Fortune 10 CEO that has not dropped their DEI program, right?
I think his husband go let him.
And he went to the inauguration, but I don't think Apple actually donated like all the other people. So it's interesting that Mark Zuckerberg drops the DEI, goes on Joe Rogan, calls out Apple by name, and then makes a comment like, we need more masculinity in CEOs. Well, 90% of CEOs are white men. So what do you mean by you need more masculinity? Is this a target at Tim Cook?
Yep.
Without being perceived as homophobic, right? Is that the line is that the closest line that he could walk? Being sent from right wing conservative to say, look, we need you to put this message out there on a platform that's the biggest platform in the world, directly targeted to somebody is that what we're seeing? Because that's pretty astonishing if that's what we're seeing.
I mean, look at it. When they say DEI, they 100% mean LGBT as well, right? Because a lot of the left wing push, right, from the Democrats was heavy on the trans movement, the LGBT movement, the new genders movement. So a lot of that is what they did not like. They wanted to push back. And what they see as the red shift, right, is this shift to more masculine and conservative values, right? You're seeing Christian nationalism, you're seeing more Christian values being pushed and things of that nature. So they look at this as a battle between left and right. And one of those definitely goes into the LGBT or not, right? And Donald Trump doing the direct push against the genders was
he said it today.
Smack in the face to them, because they was them and they was him and her and she and it and I and a bunch of other different genders. And he said, no, it's just him and her. You know what I'm talking about? And the whole thing with Mark Zuckerberg is, yeah, it was a smart play on words. So if you got 90% of the top CEOs as men, and there's no way that he's going to outwardly just say, we need some more straight masculine men. But that's what he was saying when he said that. And Mark Zuckerberg has become, image-wise, based on his PR over the last year, more masculine. You feel me? He got into the bro circle. He been learning jujitsu. He been wakeboarding. You feel me? He been stepping up his image in his campaign. He didn't got the curls and the gold chain. He outside with it. You know what I'm talking about? He might be getting.
Don't forget the T-Pain moment.
Oh yeah, you know what I'm talking about? Like but also Mark Zuckerberg is a body that he will go with whatever the tie comes in. You feel me? I think that he want to make sure that his company survives. But when I look at Apple, I think Tim Cook and Apple are in a different type of position because they don't have direct competition, where Meta has direct competition with TikTok. So if we want to swing favors in their way, then that's going to mess up your business. But what can they do to Apple if there is, and Apple has a monopoly and there's nobody that can replace the hardware that Apple has, or yet to replace the monopoly that Apple has over the App Store
and the ecosystem? Yeah. I have a question for you. I think as a culture, we missed a moment to elevate one of our brightest stars. What do you think has to be done in order for the culture to gravitate towards a Black-owned social media platform, since we online care about culture so much?
I think this is an interesting question. I think, number one, I don't believe it's going to happen because it's Black-owned. I think it's going to happen based on utility. I think that if you look at the landscape right now on social media, right, especially Black people, right, they're serving their own interests. I've sat down with people that own applications and I told them you should focus on utility so that people are utilizing your actual service for a particular reason. Because I don't believe that people are ever going to migrate just because it's Black owned. And if they do, right, that's still going to be a smaller percentage, because if we look at Black America, we the most non-monolithic people, right, of all time, right? There's a lot of people on the Trump side. There's a lot of people on the other side that we are broken up in all different reasons and ways. Like the way people is getting mad at Snoop. But the reality of it is you can't hold people accountable, right, if there is no collective shared values that we agree to. There is no standard that we agree to. There is no culture that we say, this is what we're going to do, this is what we're not going to do. And beyond momentary emotional backlash that only lasts 1 week, that's not enough, because there's no enforceable consequence towards that action of so-calledly going against the culture, but then also being for the culture, right? I think that if you're going to create an application, right, it can definitely be Black owned. But I think that if we learn from the past, then we know that that's not a way to get something to go viral. We jumped into all of these particular applications for the same tokenization system of understanding the behavior of people, of exclusivity, of utility, right, of classism, of all of these different things of why we're going to utilize the application. But beyond that, I don't see these apps being able to beat out some of these top ones, because I don't see the unity there. And quite frankly, I'm not sure if we want to unify at this point, right? I think we have to have a questioning of Black America, because you have the Divine Nine, you have the Black Caucus, you have the Black Church, you have the NOI, right? You have the Black journalists, you have all of them. If we wanted to change Black America, we have come together at a round table and have a discussion about it. But that's not happening. And why is that not happening? Right? So obviously we all have different agendas. And if we ever want to change Black America, you don't scapegoat it to an influencer or a celebrity. You go to leadership that have the most resources, the most network, and say, why the hell aren't y'all having conversations about our future that we can get behind so that we can actually move forward? So therefore, I think that we need to have a draining of the swamp as well, right? I don't believe the NAACP represents the image of Black America. I don't believe that whatsoever. I believe these are gatekeeping organizations. And if we want to have true unity, then you have to force those CEOs, force those presidents of those organizations to come to the table. And if they don't, then those are the ones that we oust, right? Because without that roundtable discussion, then there is no code, there is no accountability, there is no agenda.
So this is a discussion for anybody that wants to chime in, but TikTok, obviously, this was actually good marketing for them, right? Billions of dollars of probably free marketing, impression, people, emotions. But you don't miss something until it's gone. So I think that this is going to be beneficial for TikTok, and I think that it's going to be harmful for Meta. It doesn't help Meta, right? So the question is, how harmful will this be for Meta? Stock, company. I mean, I don't think they're going to collapse. Obviously, I think they're still going to be good, but this is something that's not beneficial for Meta because it only solidifies TikTok's position. If they get this 50-50 joint venture, now they got American interest, so it's definitely not going anywhere, right? It's this flag is planted. They have the young generation. The good thing with Meta is that they got like our demographic,
deep ecosystem.
Like, the 25 to all Facebook goes all the way up to 70. So like 25 to 70, Instagram and Facebook, they have that. But the 25 down, like the 12 to 25, TikTok has that. So how badly does this hurt Meta? And what does this mean for Meta?
I don't think it was good at all for Meta. I think that I wasn't even looking at Meta for growth, particularly in the social media world. I was looking at what hardware that they was going to be putting out. And I believe that that's where they have the biggest opportunity. Like these glasses I put on have a display in them. You can't tell, but I can keep notes in them and I can change features up, and it has AR. I believe that Meta needs to continue the innovation on the hardware front. And I believe that they can win because their challenge to Apple on hardware, I think, has been solid. The way Mark Zuckerberg been calling them out, talking about their prices are too expensive. And then right after that, he comes up with something that he is essentially positioning as the people's, right? Hey, this is something affordable, right? Ours work better. Let's use this, because he's basically saying that these guys are the luxury brand and they're overcharging you. Like when everybody had the headsets, and I bought a headset and they went nowhere, right? I thought Apple would have had a better rollout and a better plan and better follow-up, and then nothing. And seeing all this new technology, you are asking, like, where the hell is Apple as all this new technology is popping out? Because there, to me, has the best branding position to be the innovators of the future, but they just sitting back collecting their money on their fees, on additional things that they selling you to coincide with what you already have. I know my brother always talks about, Ian talks about it getting into health, and I know they're looking at other things, but I think they should not drop that front thing that they have, which is innovation, right? And I think they're going too far away from the Steve Jobs era and too deep into the Tim Cook era.
Tim Cook,
and people are like, okay, I get it. Y'all right and off of your reputation, but you're not making anything reputable.
Yeah, I think obviously the TikTok situation doesn't help Meta, right? When you talk about brand loyalty, it's something that we've seen with a company like Apple. And I mean, just based on this weekend, that loyalty has grown. You talk about percentage of usership has gone up over 60% over the past 4 years. I mean, the demographic is numbers are increasing for TikTok. I think Meta has a unique position. That was part of the messaging yesterday. We were like going back and forth in text. It was like, yeah, it's one thing to save TikTok, but the other part of the messaging is that how many millions of jobs were saved, right? Because people are making careers. Right. Businesses are being saved by it being here. Yeah. I think Meta has other streams of revenue and other avenues that they're paying attention to. So yes, TikTok is on the forefront, but we spoke about a few weeks ago when that connectivity play that they have, obviously channeling around Africa, around India. There's a bigger mission that they have. Yes, this is important, but the mission of making sure that more people have connectivity, which it will help them directly, but will also help other platforms as well. They're gonna make money off of that. I think that's their big term vision. Obviously, the Oculus, when the Vision Pro came out, you were right. Look, I had it, you had it. great invention. They kind of let it stand. They haven't updated anything for it. Oculus is still something that relatively, I mean, way more affordable, but easy to use, and it's still being in use. That piece is there when it comes to Apple. The TikTok thing is obviously from a social media standpoint, but bigger revenues, WhatsApp, connectivity throughout, I shouldn't say underdeveloped, but areas and regions that they haven't capitalized on.
Yeah.
Right. And it's there for the taking. I think that's what kind of their focus has been, and rightfully so, right? If they have that connectivity on land, obviously we know what Elon's doing with the satellites in space. Somebody has to get inside that space. They're primed to do it. Hurts from a social media standpoint. Long term, I see them having a huge run in the next 5 years.
I think it hurts Meta for sure.
I wanted to ask a question about NVIDIA's supercomputers that they announced with the petaflop, right? And not anytime recent, but a $3,000 so-called supercomputer where people have a petaflop worth of, power and speed at their hands. And you have an app or application, a DeFi like Mastodon, which is essentially multi-service that people can jump in and out, right? Where you can jump into what rules and what algorithm. It's like each person having their own state and you deciding which one you want to stay in to live, which could also represent the future. The problem is Web3 is late to the party when everybody was talking about it.
Behind.
Should be now of the actual application of it, but we haven't seen that. But my question comes in when you see in the future where more people are going to essentially have their own server farms, right? And petaflops and petabytes in computers at their house. Do you see it to where social media platforms themselves will be in trouble? Because if you could host 1 billion users yourself, right? Do you see somebody like Mr. Beast having everybody on his platform, or Kai Cenat having everybody on his platform, right? And then in that, they own their own currency. They're able to host it. There are no glitches. There are no problems. Do you see that as a viable future?
That's a good question. If this was 2018, I would say yes. What 2021 and 22 taught me is nobody gives a damn about decentralization. Dog, they took Bitcoin. They took XRP and Ethereum and rolled into the White House off of it. The whole movement that Sachs put together was really underground movement, and they made it MAGA. Most people, and we all are entrepreneurs, most people don't care about independence. They want enough to get by or enough to thrive. And I think the idea is noble. And I think it is, like I said, if it was 10 years ago, even 6 years ago, yes. But once I saw BlackRock come in and take over Bitcoin, the AI space get taken over, the crypto space, everything that crypto is for now was anti that in 2022.
100%.
Hell no, it would never happen. And the crazy part is the companies are selling you on short-term independence, but long-term giving you stability of a big institution. I'm even seeing people in crypto now are happy that BlackRock is getting involved, when that was the sign of XRP and why XRP was not supposed to be that valuable, because it went against the ethos of what crypto was. So no, 5 years ago, I would have believed that idea, but I think there's no way in hell that happens or it's even allowed to happen. Even with Mr. Beast, I had a theory about what he wanted to do, but Amazon gave him a big enough bag to say, stay here. I think Kai re-up and he'll get another bag. Once most people are not willing to stand on morals and fight for themselves and they're willing to take these deals, there'll never be anyone who's able to topple the system. And if Rashad always, nobody bigger than the program. People are so easy to buy. The crypto movement got corrupted by MAGA. Yeah. Never will happen.
Yeah. And I
100% agree with that.
I'll say this too about the TikTok. It's interesting because we haven't heard about CapCut coming back yet. So we know TikTok's coming back, but nobody has this. CapCut is still video editing program that's very popular, and Meta rolls out their video editing program. So maybe that was part of the situation.
That's what I'm saying.
To make Mark Zuckerberg
That's what I think.
appease him. So, but yeah, like I said, Meta, I've always been bullish on Meta. I think Meta is going to do well, but I think that they do have a problem because they're not skewing young. And once you stop skewing young, you don't start skewing young. I don't think they'll ever skew young ever. That's going to be a long-term problem. Not a problem right now, but that's a long-term problem for Meta for sure, as far as their core product, which is having billions of people on their platform collecting data. That's still their core product. And but Mark Zuckerberg has a unique ability to go in any direction that the wind blows him. And he like I said, he kicked Trump. He's excessive. He kicked Trump off of the platform last time. He went ultra liberal with all of these DEI programs and Meta, the black thing that they had, and Meta was he was ultra left wing when that was in style. And now he's ultra right. Now he's ultra right wing, where he got rid of the flag. He got rid of the DEI program. He's going on Joe Rogan. He's talking about we need more masculine energy.
More than the American flag.
Donating $1 million to Trump's inauguration off the rip. So he's going to play the political game the best way that he possibly can, which is going to be helpful to his company until a politician just has enough of it and says no, it's not.
Here's the interesting proposition as we're speaking about it, and I know we brought up Mr. Beast because he's one of these people that said, I'm willing to buy it, which is true, right? We got 50% ownership is something that they have 90 days to kind of figure out. We saw Zuckerberg miss the first time. What are your thoughts about him coming back around and saying, I'm interested in that 50? Well,
from what I've heard, the group is already set, and Kevin O'Leary's a part of it.
Okay. He opened a huge bag.
Who?
Yeah. Kevin O'Leary.
Kevin O'Leary's a part of it.
I'm saying that.
No, he did.
He offered, but that was, let's be honest, that was press. Like somebody else who always saying that.
Yeah.
20 billion in cash, something crazy.
Frank McCourt, you should Google that guy, Frank McCourt. So there's a few. Trump's putting his play together, and it's under his directive, from what I've been told, and he's going to get credit. He's going to get complete credit for putting it together.
The U.S. group.
Yeah, and Mark Zuckerberg is not part of the U.S. group. But I will say this: TikTok. The reason why everybody wants TikTok is like Keith said, but I think we need to really figure this thing out. Like for the audience, is that they have the best algorithm. They have a better algorithm than Meta.
History.
Yeah,
so that's something that's extremely impressive. They have a better algorithm. Their data is valuable, of course. Their algorithm is more valuable. People will buy TikTok just for the algorithm.
Yeah, I think they said within 3 seconds of your eye recognition, it has already figured out what your likes are and can now dictate to you what to show you.
Yeah.
TikTok steers narratives better than other platforms, especially in young people, right? So when they want to control the narrative about a war or something, TikTok has its own narrative, right? And its own voices, which is why people go to TikTok because they want to say what they want to say. The younger generation look at that as their place where they go to learn and they go get news from. If you have been controlling the news for the last 100 years, and then there's a platform in your country that is giving young people news, that's a big problem for you, right?
More people are watching that than all the other news broadcasts combined.
And now you got to respond based on what's being said on TikTok versus controlling the narrative on TikTok. So now your psyops is not as, effective anymore. So yes, you got to look at the full ingredients. Controlling young minds is the most important thing in any country. Number one.
Yeah.
Right. It is the biggest threat to any regime, any corporation, any government. If you don't have control over what the young minds think, then that's a problem. Right. There is a dumbing down of society going on for sure. When I go on TikTok, people be wilding. I don't know what they be on there doing. They be making faces for a couple of cents. They be wilding. There is TikTok knowledge on there. There's some things that you can learn that you won't see in other places. Absolutely. That level of exposure, I don't think people think about the way TikTok is changing the younger generation, the Gen Z, the Alpha, all of them that's going to come, right? And then you got Beta that's being born. And you got about 9 years of that first 9 years to control that generation, right? And decide what they're seeing. But these are the parents of those babies. Right. And so controlling that younger generation, I think, is the biggest fight for the future, especially when TikTok connects all of these different people, their viewpoints on politics, their viewpoints on identity, their viewpoints on self, culture, spirituality. All of these things are being generated on TikTok. They're much easier to, I would say, like something like YouTube with, where you can control the algorithm a lot better. Right. they have a network of voices that can easily push each other on each other platform and control that algorithm much better. TikTok, not so much. TikTok, you'll get goddamn, as soon as you start doing it, somebody gonna start revealing the secrets of what you got going on and exposing you.
But it's also the most censored platform, which is interesting. You can't even curse on TikTok. And even sometimes you don't even curse and they still censor your content. So it's the most censored.
Cursing on TikTok all the time.
When I see, like, you can't say the N-word, you can't say a lot of stuff that you can say on Twitter and Instagram. And with the thing with Zuckerberg, another thing that he did was, so going back to he goes in any direction, he folded under pressure when COVID happened, and he started that fact checking thing, which was completely bogus. And then the first initiative that he has before Trump gets into office is that he gets rid of the fact checking thing. So he's getting
he's under the gun.
He's under the gun. Crazy.
Keys, I want to stay with you for a sec, because you brought up, when I was talking about the connectivity, I brought up the continent, right? And so if we think about the youngest minds on the planet, where they exist, right? And so that race for who is the platform that touches the continent, where we have over 1.6 billion people, I think, what we say 70% of the population under the age of 18.
19.
You look at 19, you look at another place or region, India, where we have 2 billion people. Again, connectivity to that population. If Meta is creating the connectivity, then you would think, right, that they would be aligned to now have their platform be the number one source of information as a media platform. What's your thoughts around that?
Well, that's interesting, because he built that big old W over there, right? Try and get it. When you think about the amount of people who don't have fast internet, is actually mind-blowing, right? There's still broadband deserts in America, which is mind-blowing. Right. So you got it from the water courts, which is where most of the internet is flowing. And then where the spots are is where Elon says that he's not directly competing. He's posing it as, I'm just giving it to people who don't have it. So don't look at me as competition. Right. But eventually, of course, he wants to be that competition. Now he's building that big old W through to Africa. And the question becomes, though, is when they get internet, will they have any loyalty to Meta for giving them that internet? Or will they just go to TikTok, where all the other young people have been on, right? Yeah. Which the most popular countries in Africa, like South Africa and Nigeria, right? They running their plays on TikTok. So if you think about the influence of Africa, it's going to come out from Ghana, South Africa, Nigeria, and then the rest of those countries, once they get on social media, they're going to follow those influencers from that country, and they're going to show them their ways, because they're number one and leading. Like Nigeria is like the number one country, right, where the age between 30 to 50 have crypto wallets. And then South Africa, right? And that's top 10 globally, not just in Africa, which is a crazy stat to even think about. So I believe what Nigeria, South Africa, right, and Ghana does is going to be the influence of the rest of Africa.
Yeah, I'd add Kenya to it as well. Africa. Yeah. Okay.
But it's the best opportunity right now. And that's what the diaspora needs to figure out, is what is our bridge of business that we're going to do with each other, right? If you're looking at the next 50 years, the prime opportunity is to work within the regions of Africa and with different countries, right? From manufacturing, from textiles, from broadband to AI to education to tourism, right? The lanes are wide open. That is, if we're looking for a viable future, you want to build new cities. I see I got Sovereign City, right? Take the digital ecosystem and take that influence, take it to Africa. We've seen Chris Brown bring 90,000 people together for a concert, while Chris Brown is still hated on in America. Take it over to Africa and do business. Right. Yeah. I think that is the biggest shift and the biggest move for this generation. To number one, be able to get a better arbitrage off their influence and their knowledge, is to go over Africa and do business. And it's not instant. It's going to take some time, because Africa got a lot of things it needs, a lot of bureaucracy, right, in order to make the type of effective change you will want to from an American mind point.
Rashad, can you send a text? How soon do you think that U.S. TikTok group will go public, and how much pressure is it going to put on Meta? From those that I know at Meta,
well, that's what I was thinking as far as
they're worried. I'll say that I won't, but
yeah, because
Meta just need to come tap in. I'll give Meta the blueprint, what they need. You feel me? And we're gonna bring all the black influencers, but we're gonna need a huge fund. I mean, a big fund. But if y'all can get the money, Meta, we can get you the people.
They have it. They may not be able to, especially now with them being over at the MAGA.
They got the people. It's the kids.
They can't disperse it.
You can't control kids.
I'm talking about the younger generation.
That you can't. That's hard.
It is, but they got. I don't know, man. It's
catching eagles. Like you can't trying to get kids together. Is like catching eagles. They really organic with this shit. Like the kids really organic. Like they poured millions of dollars to try to get kids. Like the kids don't care. Kids is gonna go wherever it's really organic.
They need to do something disruptive that interrupts the space, right? And I feel like not enough people are doing more disruptive things right now in the social media world. They, of course, doubling down on what they already got, but nobody is interrupting the space. And
when you stole your best ideas,
because right now, what's faced globally is financial nihilism. We believe that everything is rigged. The black community already had it, which is why black men specifically, jumped into crypto. They said, well, if the market is rigged, let me go to what's going to be the new market then, right? But now it's global financial nihilism where they believe everything is ran by the elites. The system is rigged. If somebody can make $1 million in a day, why would I then go want to work my whole life to try to go get me a car and a house? The American dream is goddamn dead, right? That is,
yeah.
And what does that make them do? Gamble, right? So that now I put out a tweet that, for the boomer generation, the lottery was their meme coins.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So they had the lottery. My grandma used to send us to go get her lottery picks all the time. They had Powerballs and they had lotteries. For this generation, it's FanDuel and meme coins, right? Gambling is going to continue to be higher and higher and higher. Meme coin narratives are going to continue to flow. Don't know when it will burn out. Don't know. Mark Cuban had tweeted something very interesting. He said that the best thing for everybody to do is to create their own meme coin. He said, let it reign anarchy, essentially. Right. And I know you all wanted to get to that, so I don't want to front run. I don't know if you all already talked about that, but it was just on time. But financial nihilism, to me, I think is the key thing that everybody needs to pay attention to, because belief in these systems is at an all-time low with the younger generation. So anything that's the establishment, once it becomes the thing, the younger generation is looking for the next thing. So if you create that next shiny thing that is disruption to the establishment, they will run and flow into, and that's what TikTok had represented. Older people did not like it. Older people didn't understand it. More established brands, right, was looking at it like, that's for the kids. And the children say, oh yeah, y'all already got Instagram, y'all got y'all YouTube, y'all don't understand this. We go over here. So,
but remember, Zuckerberg tried to buy it, but they blocked him. That was the first sign that he really fell out of favor, especially on the political side.
And it was under the wrong administration. If it was under this administration, if he would have been able to, make a donation, he probably would have been able to get it through. So even X is banned in China, right? So now you guys see, okay, how much can, and we're gonna talk about this on Blackout as far as Elon Musk, his global view, but he's making moves, right? So he got MAGA's already established. Now he's working on Mega. That's a Blackout topic, right? Make Europe great again. So it's like X is banned in China.
So Facebook.
He spoke about why is X banned in China and TikTok allowed in America, even though I'm not against TikTok being allowed. But for him to say that publicly, to me, he's already working back channels from the highest level possible to get X good in China, right? So world domination is something that isn't just a saying, it's a way of life.
Yeah. Well, is that a play for Zuck as well? Right. So if Elon gets Twitter lifted, Facebook's been banned in China since 2009. I mean,
the problem with
Zuck, Paul Pierce say they don't know you like that.
Yeah, he
plays your hand. I love Zuck for what he's doing.
A lot of enemies.
He made a lot. Even that war that's been going on 8 or 7 years. Him and Elon were not the friendliest. He made too many enemies. No,
yeah, that was a tough era for him. You got to remember, this is a completely new, different Zuckerberg, right? But people remember how it made him feel. You feel me? And Meta was a platform that was banning everybody, kicking everybody off, censoring them, completely going with the alphabet boys was telling them to do, right? And every conspiracy that the megas and everybody else thought was happening was happening.
What's happening?
So they look at him as part of the establishment. Now, who's actually the establishment? Who knows? Because when you think about it, Donald Trump was against X. He was against crypto. Which funny is because anytime the establishment says something is not good, again, he was against TikTok.
He was against he was against Donald Trump was literally
the establishment is against something.
Donald Trump
say we for it.
Donald Trump was against Republicans.
Right.
He started as a Democrat in New York. He's a Democratic. He's a Democrat from New York. He's against Republicans and becomes a Republican legend. He's against crypto and becomes a crypto legend. He's against TikTok and becomes TikTok's savior. How he's been rolling this out has been historic because nobody ever remembers all of this stuff. And
it's pimping.
I mean, he has 34 felonies, runs for president so he can get rid of his felonies. That worked out perfectly. Gets rid of TikTok so he can bring back TikTok.
Bring it back.
That works out. That works out perfectly. Goes against crypto.
He was against the Libra Meta coin.
Mm-hmm. He was against.
Yeah, that's the conversation.
At the same time, he said that Libra Meta coin ain't worth. You feel me? And then he drops his meme coin.
And his wife's.
And his wife. Melania said, wait a minute now.
I need my own book. I need my own book.
So can we talk about the meme coins?
Well, let's talk about
Let's do it.
We spoke about it earlier, but I want to hear your perspective.
Oh man. So first of all, this is chaotic. This is pure crazy. This is anarchy all throughout. It's funny because I've seen a divide with the MAGA party with this whole thing. Of course, I'm not sure what y'all said earlier. I didn't get to see everything, but he set this whole entire play up masterfully, right? He got the crypto bros back into position. They started making money. And as we fast forwarded, he invited them all to the crypto ball. Of course, he got up there DJing, everybody in the room having fun. And then without them, from what a lot of people have tweeted, he dropped his Trump meme coin. Now, some people speculate that he was showing them, listen, I don't really need y'all, right? I'm not sure if he was doing that or not, but I do know he ran that play and most people was like, okay, well, this at least go bring another supercharge into the crypto world, even though a lot of people were still on the fence of how can a sitting American president that's about to be inaugurated the next day drop a meme coin, utilizing and leveraging his influence and position. Now, of course, I know people that made money. They like, who cares? I made money, right? Again, it's financial nihilism. If you're not creating jobs, and it's very interesting when you think about what his economic plans are while he's dropping a meme coin at the same time. And especially while California just is on fire. And we'll be interesting to see what the victims of the fire get, right, fully when the government helps them and send them assistance. But anyway, when we look at this Donald Trump thing, when the Melania coin dropped, then that's when a lot of the people that's in the mega party, I seen Alice Becker, who was huge on crypto Twitter. He was like, all right, I'm starting to regret my vote. Now, one thing I know about Donald Trump, he can get away with just damn near anything. And people will justify it and people will buy it, right? From Bibles to meme coins, they really don't care. But I know that this definitely caused some harm in his relationship with the crypto bros, because number one, they would have loved to been in on a gag. You feel me? They would have loved to know what was going on so that they could have launched it with him. But number two, they believe that he's pulling out so much liquidity from actual real projects to push into his own. So people is like, well, you going to help us or are you just there to help yourself? Right? Now, if you know anything about Donald Trump and the art of the deal, he's making that deal to make himself more powerful and more money, right? He dropped it on Solana. 80% of that is so-calledly locked, but not really locked. It just was sent to another wallet. But that's billions of dollars right now. And then Melania coin is somewhere around $5 at this time that we're speaking. Another billions of dollars that just goes into. I believe that they had announced that Cuba had launched his own coin only to rug his own people, so-called. So now we looking at, I think, just complete mania that when the president does something, it literally sets precedents, right? To where how can you argue if the sitting president dropped a meme coin that these things are not a valid way for everybody else to move. So I think that you can see a craze of influencers, creators, companies, countries, everybody just dropping their meme coin.
So the question is, should we do the Market Mondays coin?
Listen.
No, hold on. Before we go there.
No, you go first. I want to hear your take because I know
Black.
I know you was gonna say
the
that.
Same apology that Mark had to go give at Mar-a-Lago, we're gonna have to do at the Department of Justice and the FCC and FINRA. Jefe, lo siento. Oh no!
But how can if the president, the precedent is already set by the president?
Yeah,
the precedent is set by the president. How could there be?
I told everybody who was black in the NFT movement the same thing. When the Bored Apes was able to pull that shit off, it's different than when somebody black, and it's a bunch of black creators who went to jail. I like the idea. I got idea behind the scenes, but us public facing launch a coin, no.
I think it's interesting. I think that there's some validity of what he's saying. You know, anytime we get into something, they want to shake the tree because they don't really want to see a mass population of black people extremely wealthy, right? That changes the dynamics of America, right? Most of our stats are related to our poverty, our negative stats, right? That's just a fact. Criminality, violence, our health stats is all related to our poverty, our positions of influence. We think differently. If everybody in America was well off, our political ties to everybody would change, right? So they don't really want to see that. It's best served to keep Black America broke. So the thing is that I think it would be interesting to see, right, coins be created, crypto coins and meme coins. I think the reason that people go with meme coins is because we're not offering you anything. Right? We're telling you up front that this is not worth anything. Therefore, if you jump into it, this is all upon your risk, right? Anything you put in there, you're willing to lose. And that's that. The only thing you would have to do essentially is not rug. And then later on, what I haven't seen from these meme coins and none of these cryptos, they actually do something good with the money. People collect billions of dollars, don't build anything, don't help anybody.
I'm not give anything back.
Nothing. It's just all money and greed. So I think that would be the biggest shift. If there was actually a project that was dropped, and then when a person actually got hundreds of millions of dollars, they did something that was beneficial to society, right? Because right now we're in this super capitalistic greed phase to where everybody just want money. But I put out there, I'm like, what are you actually going to do with the money? Is it just going back into the hands of corporations? Right? Because that just became the same cycle and loop. So who cares if you broke or rich if there's not an actual plan that progresses humanity? And I believe that society is eroding daily. And if there were signs of the times that we was at the end of an empire, right, it would be when society is completely degraded, capitalism at an all-time high, financial nihilism is at an all-time high, right? The people are completely divided and they don't really believe in anything but money. And the reality of it is it should be quality of life that we should be focused on in America if you want to make a country great, right? It is the quality of life index, not GDP. And until that shifts, every country will erode until quality of life is the standard of what makes a country great. So back to the crypto question, I believe that without risk, there's no reward in this game. And there is a lot of risk being black doing anything, but you can also be anonymous and do things because I don't know who's creating all these coins. Mm-hmm. There's millions of coins being created every day. We assuming that they don't look like us, but do they? Because we have the same tools to our disposal. You can go on Dex Tools, you can go on Pump Fund, right? You can go create whatever you want to. You can go create a whole entire website instantly generated for these coins, right? All they're doing is hiring influencers, paying them $5,000 to pump their coins up, right? There's a whole roadmap in order for this thing to be done. And people on the internet is just putting up memes, whether they racist or non-racist, we don't know who they are, right? Whether they funny or political, people are just running with narratives, right? So that's the way crypto is being played right now. What's the next narrative that creates the next coin? Because it's based on attention, right? So whichever one gets the most attention converts the most money. So it's if we take it back from a history lesson back in 1612, right? This country was founded based on a lottery, right? That's when they was able to create New Jamestown, Virginia, So if I'm looking at a new world being built out and I'm a student of history, it's the same thing that's been happening in America since the beginning. But we looking at it as a meme coin is something new. It's just a new system with the same old game.
So here's the thing, right? Because when we think of these meme coins, it's tough, right? When we talk about stocks, we can look at fundamental analysis, we can look at technicals. These meme coins, sometimes they stay, right? Like Doge is probably the most popular meme coin. It's the number 7 asset on CoinMarketCap. So it's here. So the thing is, when you have like a Trump coin, and again, we don't know who the owner is or who created it, is it here to stay at least for these 4 years? Because it got up to 75, it went down to 40. People are gonna make money already. But when you see acceptance from a Robinhood, when you see it in acceptance from a Kraken, and you see it from a Coinbase, people are gonna flock to it because the ease of trying to acquire it, right? Before it was like, how do I get it? Where do I get it? Now you know where to get it. Yeah. Is this meme coin, or at least this one, here to stay for at least the 4 years?
I don't know how attention is going to go, because I think the thing about it is all attention. So I mean, it's an official so-called meme coin already, so people have access to it. So that's there, whether it rugs or whether it goes up based on further speculation and new things that they add to the project, that's yet to see. But when you see things like Fartcoin, Pepe, right, these coins have staying power. Matter of fact, they've been actually outpacing everything else. Actual real utility products, people are not jumping into right now. People want to gamble to make money, right? It is gambling for wealth. Now, the thing I was saying about attention is that this is going to be a crazy year. So there's going to be a lot of narrative that steal attention away, right? So next week, anything could happen. And then we're no longer talking about the meme coin, even though it went down to $1. Who knows? The one thing I do know about the Trump coin is Trump is always going to be president for the next 4 years, right? So that is always going to have some level of attention to it, no matter what. And he is going to talk about crypto. It is going to have ups and downs. And I believe there's always going to be a time where attention is flowing in and out of that coin. So I think that you focus on trends, you focus on narratives, you focus on where the attention is shifting, right? If you want to understand why meme coins work. I've said that a long time ago. It's tokenomics is basically attention based, right? It's bet whether a person gets FOMO, right? Whether the news is reporting on it. You can go look at Google Trends to see what people are talking about, what they're talking about in a crypto Twitter, right? What they got going on in these alpha and these Deegan telegrams and discords, right? All of this stuff, number one, is manufactured attention as well, a lot of it. But then you get things like Pepe, or not Pepe, but what's the other one? Chill Guy, where everybody was making memes.
Chill Guy meme was going crazy.
That's like if somebody made a meme about the guy who was up there at the inauguration acting like he was Martin Luther King. You know what I'm saying?
Cool coin.
Meme coin right now about that, it'll get some attention. It'll probably go up for a second. It'll go down again because nobody cares.
Hey, I'm down to do cool coin. We got a couple people we can call.
Coin, crazy. I'm with that one too.
Sign me up.
I'm with that coin. Cool coin. Let's do it.
Let's do that one immediately.
I know it was founded by.
That come with it.
Yeah, every week drop a new coin. New coin.
New coin on a week.
Who's your daddy?
But listen, I seriously do think that the future, a lot of people are going to be creating more coins. I think not only that, I think just digital networks, period, like digital cities. Yeah, I mean, like I think Discord is essentially like the beta of creating a digital city, right? And I believe that as influence become more polarized, people are going to have more control over their community, and we're going to see some interesting things happen when it comes to the social media landscape, because it's not even about us creating anymore, right? It's about us having, well, not even about social connection. It's about what we can create on social media, right? And the amount of attention that it can get. I don't think people going on there to have real conversations on social media. YouTube, you can see more of that. But the landscape of TikTok and the landscape of Instagram is just fast attention, right? What can I create? What can be seen real quick? And it's really shaping up human behavior. There's a lot of brain rotting that's happening. There's a lot of dopamine deficits that's happening in this generation, and they can't focus on nothing. And the more dangerous thing is everybody needs to focus on how do you save yourself. I'm done trying to convince people because I realized that people want to live in a silos and they believe whatever they want to, regardless of the facts that are presented.
I want to talk about how this. I want to talk about the show. That's a good segue. But before, the last thing I'll say about this is that this thing is going to end badly, because when things start to not make sense, that's the universal law that a crash is coming. And we saw it with NFTs. We saw it with crypto before.
We saw with Web3 not even.
One thing I want to say about NFTs is this: that you look at projects like Pudgy Penguin. At one point in time, they was worth more than a Bitcoin. If you go look at your product bag right now and you go pull out the authenticity card, right? It's connected to an NFT that verifies it. I said this on Breakfast Club last time I was on it, that it's going to be widely used. You're just not going to be calling it an NFT because the technology is still viable. It's still real. It's just that people start to look at everything based on its price instead of its value. And then that's when things start to bubble.
Well,
right?
it's like when crashes. So it's like the .com crash, right? 80% of those .coms went away, but I mean, the internet's still here, right? So when I say crash, like, I mean, the crypto industry as a whole is going to suffer because
survive. Yeah, it'll survive, but plans change.
Like Bitcoin's going to survive, right? Like Ethereum's still going to be here, but all of these meme coins are going to crash and burn, and people are going to lose a lot of money. But save yourself.
90% of traders lose money in the crypto industry. Number one, don't have any strategies. Number two, is a lot of stuff is just speculative. If you don't know how to get in and get out, then you're going to lose regardless.
Save yourself. Talk about that.
Well, save yourself is just that. No matter, it's not going to be a government. It's not going to be a celebrity. It's not going to be a politician. It's not going to be a pastor. None of these things are what's going to save you. What's going to save you is your strategies that you have, especially over the next 4 years. If I look at the landscape of what's going on in the economy, right, as we talk about financial nihilism, we talk about wage suppression, we talk about this dramatic world shift. We even talking about, dangerous weather events that's happening all throughout America, where we have these extremes that's happening. I believe we're in this space to where society is completely eroding at its soul level, right? If we don't learn how to get back to indigenous ways, to where we go from just extraction and domination of nature and getting back into harmony, right, and flow with nature, then I think that not just America will have its fall, but I think humanity, right, as a whole. And we're completely disconnected from that space of being human anymore. We become so robot and machine-like, and we don't have any collective agendas in harmony. At this show, I really want to have a discussion with the audience and the people that's in the audience, which is why I'm inviting all of my peers that I know, all the people that you see me with. I'm inviting them to be in the audience because I want to make this a discussion about our future. How do we save ourselves going into this next 4 years? I believe people need to decrease spending, right? They need to increase their ability to buy assets, right? They need to get completely focused and disciplined with themselves. They need to get their family in tune, right? And they need to have a strategy. So therefore, they have more resilience, right? And resilience is your ability to quickly bounce back, essentially, right? To get out of form and then get back into it. And if you're not studying the age of resilience, right? There's a good book on that by Jeremy Rifkin. He's one of my favorite thought leaders and economists. And he talks about the age of resilience, how we're on a water planet and not just an earth, right? To where we think of the land base, but globalism has connected us all across the planet. And there's existential crises that we face, right? As you may look on the internet and the TV and it tells you one thing, but your spirit tells you something is not right in the world, right? And what is that intuition that guides you? At the end of the day, if you don't have the data and the knowledge to be able to move off that intuition and understand what is the pathway you're supposed to take to secure your family's wealth, to protect yourself, to be able to think correctly, to have more increased intelligence, greater adaptability as things are constantly shifting, to know how to think about the future in the first place so you're not constantly stuck with anxiety because things have shifted so much and you don't know what to do. As a futurist, my goal is to give you the blueprint to the future and to have that discussion together about how do we save ourselves. It's going to be the most important room in America for us to decide our future. And that's what we're going to be doing February 7th at the Gramercy Theater, New York.
February 7th, Gramercy Theater, New York
New York,
City.
New York.
Where can I get tickets?
19keys.com/tour. But you know what I need, man? I need Ian there.
Uh-oh.
That's my son's birthday. I can do any other date but that one.
Hey.
That's Daniel's birthday. Hey, listen, when I go back home, I'm gonna ask him, hey, you wanna go to New York for your birthday? I'm gonna ask, but that's my only out.
He gonna say, Dad, save yourself.
For real.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Xander was on somewhere. You know what I'm talking about. But I need my brothers at EYL to definitely be there. And
Too easy.
Be rich. So please bring your books. You know what I'm talking about. But yeah, first of all, thank you for the platform. It's always good to come on here and talk with you fellas. You know, my goal is how do we stay focused during this time? Right? Stick to your thesis is my whole thing. If your thesis is not working, shift your thesis, but stick to something. If you just step outside, your energy and your attention is going to be going left, it's going to be going right, it's going to be completely controlled. Yeah. There's going to be so many things happening, right? But you need to learn to have a thesis, a strategy, and a plan to whereas everything is happening, you're adaptable and you're resilient and you can maintain your integrity this whole entire time because there's great opportunity at the same time. And I do believe that Black people have about 2 years of real asset accumulation. I believe that Hispanic people probably have maybe 2.5, 3 years. I believe that white people have about 5, and I believe Indians have 6, right? And outside of that, the world completely shifts. And it's the idea of the future of money, who knows? When you can create a meme coin and billions of dollars flows into it, what is real money, right? Owning your IP, I think is very important for the future. Owning assets and managing those assets and give people access to it because ownership will decrease. You will own nothing and you will love it. And on one hand, a person can say, well, that's how the indigenous people did it. And on another hand, people look at it based on the oligarchy's plan for the world, right? So somewhere in the middle is where the truth is, right? The younger generation doesn't want to just hoard things and just own things. They need access because it's not sustainable economically, right? And based on our ecosystem. So I think that we have to become greater stewards of ourselves, our spirits, our soul. When it comes to unity, I'm not sure if it's going to happen unless we first have separation. And by separation, I think that people need to find their tribes. You need to find who you actually connect with and build with. And then y'all tribes can come together. But if we're looking at it as an individualist thing, it's not going to happen anytime soon. But I will continue to put fire to it, right? I will continue to be extreme optimist in our ability to have cooperation amongst each other, right? And our ability to build. And I believe more of us need to have these conversations on the back end, right? If we look at the way Donald Trump and the way Elon Musk and the way everybody else is playing their game, it's disrespectful to be any position of power, any position of leadership, any position of resource, and not be connecting behind the scenes. I know a lot of us are extreme capitalists. I get it. But what is your capital worth if people don't respect you in the future and they won't even take your dollars, right? I believe you have to have very strong networks and we have to be super intentional because Black media should have its own voice. It should narrate its own reality right now. We should be picking our own stars and we should have a lot of power. The unity is not even the play. The power is the play. Yeah. If you don't want no power, then you just want to be a slave because how can you tell your child that their future is safe if you ain't got no power? You can't. You lying to them. And to me, I think that's the reality. And when somebody comes in your face and they spit in your face, whether that is literally, right, or whether that is figuratively, what you gonna do? And right now, there's a lot of spitting in Black people's faces.
You will have nothing and you will like it. Keys, my brother, it's always been a pleasure. I
wanted to hear what Ian had to say. I know we got to go, but I
was going to tell you to tell him a new episode of High Level Conversations. You ain't talking about that. Just drop, man. Come on.
Yeah, just drop.
Talk to him, man.
That episode was fire. I called it Quantum Minds because we had so many conversations about quantum technology, but there also so much game about the future and what you need to do moving forward, right? I think just on the mentality side, there was a lot of key things that we stuck with, right? If I was reading the WEF report and it was talking about how creativity, resilience, adaptability, and they also said the care market, right? People are getting older and older. So being in those areas that won't be easily automated are key. And we really gave a breakdown of that future and where things are going and how quantum machines could possibly affect us as well. I know a lot of times we get this mental myopia to where we can only see what's in front of us right now. And so this inauguration is here, the meme coins is here. But if we want to look out at another 10 years, 5 years, 3 years, I'm always looking at new technologies as a looming threat or benefit. If we're not in it whatsoever, it's a threat, right? And so whether it's blockchain, whether it's NFTs, right, whether it's crypto, whether it's AI, or whether it's quantum computing, all of this is a threat for those who don't control it. So I believe that we have to be prepared as futurists, right, so that we have control over our future. But watch that new episode. It is a platinum one already, and you and your family should sit down, and we got more high-level conversations to come.
19 keys.
I appreciate you. What did you want my insight on?
You was about to say something when I was talking about the unity separation piece.
Oh yeah, it won't take long. If I think the biggest thing in the culture is we have to decide to even. I'm sure they'll do a documentary or book about it, but like even David Sachs, Chamath, Calacanis, who I'm friendly with, they came up with this whole crypto plan after Kamala was selected. Didn't take them that long. Like firsthand, some of the guys that it didn't take them that long. They made a choice. Now, of course, the backing of Elon helped a hell of a lot and having a platform, but I think we're powerful enough if we wanted to. We can have an impact on the next election in 2 years if we wanted to. The question is, as a community and as a culture, do we want to? They made a crypto czar position for David Sachs, a major entrepreneur, but he's not top 50 in Silicon Valley. So why can't we have influence over what happens in Africa or the United States of America or, but if y'all listen to the higher powers, these are just jokes written by 85 South. We don't mean none of this. We just talking hypothetically. You can't upset the powers in public, you know what I mean?
All alleged.
Yeah, allegedly.
Yeah.
All allegedly. Well, allegedly, I also dropping my articulation class soon. I think that's the thing that people have been asking me about the most is if I can teach them how to communicate like myself. Now I can't do that exactly, but I can.
You gonna give me your sauce? Pause.
Will. So I've been preparing it for like the last 6 months because I wanted to make sure that each person can come in and get phenomenal results by practicing the frameworks, right? Gotcha. And I realized I've been a speaker my whole life since I was a child. So there's things that I'm gifted at, and then there's technical skill sets, right, that you can develop over time. Tonality, pausing, right, projection of voice, right, how to have a framework if you have to do an off-cuff speech, speaking with more confidence and passion. Yeah. All of those particular things is what you're going to get out of it. And essentially how to have a high-level conversation. What does a high-level conversation consist of, right? I don't need to keep that sauce to myself. I believe we can change the world by having more high-level conversations. Most of the things we have in society are low-level, right? When I come into a space, people are racking their brain of what can I talk about that's high level? And first I'm like, relax. I don't want it to be performative. It's just a conversation, right? And when you do that, whether you're getting on stage or whether you're talking to somebody, a lot of people going into their performative brain. And that's why they can't be in flow mode. Instead, everything that I do is a conversation, but I always speak from a point of passion. And teaching people how to find that passion, that true belief, and then speak from there, people will feel what you say, because it's more important for people to feel what you say than even it is for them to hear what you're saying, right? Because that opens them up to remember you, right? And so the greatest leaders in the world were the most passionate speakers in the world, and they was able to articulate themselves, and articulation increases confidence. So that's why I decided to do this in the high level club that we're going to be dropping soon, but wanted to throw that down there because I will be dropping some keys February 7th as well when it comes to how we can all have high level conversations and become high level communicators.
There you go.
Jeez. What kind of Netflix approved lens is that? Articulate that. What's that?
Hold on. I actually got 2 views. I didn't even hit y'all with the other one. I said I'm gonna go light on y'all today. I ain't even. I got 2 different ways.
So he got the Ryan Coogler lens.
I'm trying to see if this thing go ahead and open for me so I can show these fellas real quick. I ain't got my producers on the background.
Oh, so okay.
Oh, you doing a Snoop?
If there's no engineer, I'm the engineer. I hear you.
Okay, we can always switch it up if we want to. You know what I'm saying? We can always give you another angle. You feel me? This is really the dramatic effect right here. Then you want to talk to the camera. You gotta
put the glasses back on, man.
Yeah.
Hold on. Come here. You know, I'm sipping my Supermine.
Hey, you got the T'Challa chair. I'll see what you do. I'll see the.
I got a coffee drop, and I ain't even hit y'all. I ain't even go for a Master P. I could have. You know what I'm saying?
Drop out 5, but you family. I'm gonna let you.
Supermine mushroom coffee. You know what I'm saying? I took it light today.
Keys coin.
You want to get
Keys coin on the way.
You gotta go low voice, and then you talk to the camera like, listen, save yourself. And then you end it from there. You feel me?
On a dramatic effect. Massive.
Yo, February 7th, man. A must.
New York City, February 7th, Gramercy Theater, Manhattan, New York City. Yo, make sure you.
I'm gonna see what Xander want to do. I'm gonna ask him. I promise you.
Yeah, please do. I really want to make it a legendary day, though, man. Like I said, it's not gonna be about me. It's really about who shows up in the conversations we gonna have and how we should.
You gotta give me the heads up who's gonna be there, though.
Okay, why you got enemies?
Nah,
no enemies. I got no energy. We're not aligning with
everybody. The list is
all gonna be. Who's all gonna be there?
Who all gonna be there?
The list is vetted. Don't worry about it. It's all friendlies.
Top billing. Rashad, I got you.
Yeah, I got everybody.
Arrangements.
With it, man.
Yeah.
Everybody coming on my card. Everybody good, man. You know I bring the right people together.
Got you.
They never no fights in my events. It's all beautiful ladies. Everybody smell good. Everybody know I bring out the most beautiful people that can possibly be seen in New York.
Great energy.
You know what I'm saying? If you looking to connect and network with the right people in the world, they flying in from all over. I'm talking about out of state countries. You feel me? There are some very beautiful, conscious women out there on this planet Earth, and they making a lot of money. And a lot of fellas, y'all need to show up. If you got some knowledge yourself, they looking for you. They can't get me.
Next best thing.
Listen, save yourself. Save yourself. Please don't miss out on this. Save
this guy
at a time. You know what I'm saying?
The orator of our generation, man. 19 keys.
Oh, never no moment. Never no moment, man. All right, bro. I appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Yeah, sorry.
Thank you for real.
All right, Keys.
Fact.
One of a kind, man.
That's a fact.
One of a kind.
Absolutely.
Never a dull moment. 19 keys.
Ever. You can't have me a dramatic effect. Ooh, I got to use that one.
I'm glad people. The best part of that is that a lot of our conversations, especially when we speak, is that's how it goes. It's like the seriousness, but there's banter and it's always intelligent. So I'm glad people get to see that side of him because he's a funny dude, man.
Yeah,
so we put our coon coin. Who going first?
It's a few of them.
Oh man, if any of y'all go up there, I'm calling y'all out. Bunch of coons.
That's a few of them. It's a few of them.
That was it.
We got to talk about, all right, as a preview for this week, we will be talking about Elon doing the Hail Hitler salute. That's crazy. We got to talk about
true to form.
Mass deportation day one.
Yeah.
We got to talk about make a Europe great again. What does that even mean? We got to talk about.
It's clear. Mega Man.
Gulf of Mexico rename day one.
Where's Stupinelli at on this list?
Towards the end of the show.
So tune in on Wednesday.
Yo, man, it's gonna be a special night. Special night.
Elon's really going crazy, man.
Is Elon the technology to save white America from the dwindling birth rates?
Did he? Well, another thing that I want to talk about on Black Eyes is if he genetically altered his genetic code. If he changed his genetic code, he hasn't really aged too much. If you really look at it, and it's something like that powerful. The only thing that can stop him is death. And when you start to put chips in people's brains, you got to think that if I'm giving you steak dinner, what am I eating? Myself, right? So you got to think that maybe he has some level of
over what time frame we talking? I'm past like 5 years.
I'm talking like right now today.
He looks the same as he did 5 years.
Well, can he die first and foremost?
That's a good question.
And has he changed his genetic code? to become a superhuman, because even though all the stuff that he's doing is like, when is he sleeping? He's running 5 companies. He's running political campaigns in 4 different countries simultaneously, 4 different continents.
He's looking younger now than he did.
That's what I'm saying.
If you look at, you can Google that. Look at the PayPal pictures.
Yeah. And for those who are wondering, you can look like he's 40s. You don't think you can do this for adults with that wealth?
He hasn't. Like, the only thing that can stop him is death. And you got to start to think, man, if this guy's talking about colonizing Mars and all of this, like, all right, blackout's going to be interesting. Let's just say that.
Yes. I told you, this year, there's so much stuff happening. We don't even have to go on conspiracies. We can just talk about what's happening clear as day.
Yeah, we didn't even finish January yet.
Blackout will be interesting.
Crazy.
We didn't even finish January.
All right. Okay.
Yeah. Ah, man.
Anything else?
Yeah, we got earnings this week. Obviously, the market's open tomorrow. Netflix, we be watching that. We got a lot of the consumer staples reporting this week. We got P&G, Johnson & Johnson, and Max on Friday. Another one of those companies that you definitely should have your eyes on. Yeah, man, it's starting that earnings season again, so be on the lookout.
Rashad, I know you got another theory. I know it's getting scary, right?
Spooky hours.
Yeah.
Very spooky.
No, that was unprecedented.
Spooky hours are upon us, man.
What do you think the justification? We'll save it.
Spooky hour. The justification
for
you are who you are in this world.
Yeah.
Trailer. Oh yeah. The once you have knocked the king off the board, you can be who you naturally are. And the crazy part, he has so many supporters, they're going to justify it and make a meme point of it.
Potentially next. Attention. We're not. I mean, how many hours are we away from the Doge department actually existing? So now Doge becomes attention. Yes.
Remember when they gave Obama all that flack for that tan suit? They booed Obama.
Yeah.
At the inauguration?
That was whack.
The way they booed Hulk Hogan, they booed the shit out of him. Where's the decorum? I see why Auntie Cheryl says she didn't want to go. What? Crazy.
Yeah, nasty.
Crazy. Tune in Blackout, maybe 4-hour episode. Who knows?
At least. Umar Johnson, Colin.
Yes.
Special segment.
Coon call-ins we taking because y'all went at the inauguration.
The coon calls. will be accepted. 1-800-COON.
But back to the unity. It's interesting because even people like, yo, why y'all broadcasting still? Calacanis put together a plan to help him win and take over the White House. Like, we can make change inside of a year.
We can do it.
Put it in chat. Do we want to, though?
Yeah, man. Crazy time. What a time to be alive.
For real.
What a time.
Yeah.
To be alive.
You and yours.
Almost died.
You and yours was me and mine.
Hey, Drake, hold your head. We'll talk about on Blackout. Your career maybe.
No.
Got the Baca, TV Gucci. Let me get all of them out. All my.
Shout out to the 6, man.
I didn't like this move.
Blackout gonna be one of the ones, man.
Yeah, Blackout gonna be one of the ones.
Wednesday, 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time for Blackout. Thursday, 6 o'clock, my guy Lecrae.
Yeah, dope episode.
And then Thursday at 7 o'clock, the options class.
I'm back.
EY University.
Yep.
Download the app if you're in EY University. Make sure you stay up to date on everything that's been going on. We got the mastermind in 2 weeks in Atlanta, Georgia.
Excited about that. Some more.
Call 5 p.m. Central. See, you got to coordinate the schedule with your partners and friends. We all be trying to step on each other work while the program ain't working. Too many programs.
Oh man, it's gonna be a hell of a year, bro.
Yeah,
this will be a year that I won't forget. I'll tell you that much.
Nobody's even talking about Puff no more.
And Puff's gonna
get out.
He may find his way. One way
or another.
No way out.
One way or another. Heard something.
The re-release.
It may happen.
The re-release.
It may happen.
Yeah.
Fauci.
Yo, that's on. Yo, Fauci got pardoned at the buzzer. Marcus Garvey got the pardon. They was like, yo, Marcus snuck in Fauci. He wasn't even charged with anything yet. We're gonna pardon him just in case.
Yeah.
Good to have friends in high places.
You pardoning somebody that has been dead for 60 years. I appreciate the gesture, but let a shot of Shakur come back to America. Like, do something for somebody that's actually still living today.
Yeah.
Right? That's even more beneficial.
Well, shout out to BMF.
Shout out to Terry. Southwest T.
Southwest T got pardoned.
Oh, did he? Okay.
But once again, he got
I know. I'm just saying
which,
Meech home.
There's political prisoners that's locked.
That's a fact. That is a fact.
Free them.
Yeah.
Oh, it's too late now, but if you really wanted to do something, Biden, you should have done it when you had opportunity. Biden, you're done. And the Democrats, we're gonna talk about you guys on
you're done.
Like out too. You guys
y'all have no new superstars. It's like when Mike left and they had like Pete Myers and Randy Brown. But y'all need to.
No, Pete Myers was wild. Why did he think Pete Myers was gonna be tough?
Democrats, listen, y'all can't roll out your AOC card. She ain't going. Y'all gotta fight back.
Shout out to Pete. That was crazy. That was a crazy time.
Try to take my chain. I ain't going.
We tried to warn you and tried to help. Roland Martin, we need to have a combo.
Yo, Roland.
Umar.
Been real. Yo, you got your Chiefs in the championship on Sunday.
Salute to Pat Mahomes.
My commander.
Okay, I'm happy they won. That one little call when Patty slid at the end.
That was ridiculous, bro.
I mean, it was gonna win regardless.
That was third down. They would have had to punt if that did. Two of them penalties was
about 14.
That was tough.
No, but momentum changed. That's fourth down. They went. The two calls were ridiculous. It's whatever. They won. They found a way to win, which they do every week. They are in the championship. My Washington Commanders
cooking.
We're going to Philly this weekend. I like our chances. Don't let Washington play the Chiefs. I might.
Rashad, you was right about. Well, I ain't gonna say that. Shout out to bros QB Mark Andrews.
Nah, bro.
That was bad.
That's ridiculous.
That's bad work, man.
How you drop?
That's nasty.
It's a good lesson though. When he had that fumble, after you mess up,
confidence,
you gotta get your head back in the game. Focus on the victory.
Well,
some of you be sulking too long, and then you try to pick up the Trump.
Never let it get to that point. They had turnovers before that.
Yeah,
that cost them.
Yes.
And that's the result of he should have caught that for sure.
Yeah.
But it shouldn't even have got to that point where he had to catch that. Like, you gotta seal the victory early.
Yeah. I mean, but that's a whole sports debate.
They're fighting back.
Lamar hasn't had 2 turnovers in a game all year. The last time he had 2 turnovers in a game was last year versus the Chiefs in the AFC Championship.
Salute to Lamar, but this is a yearly occurrence. But
I want to tell you did say it though.
Salute to him. It is what it is. But we almost have 4 black quarterbacks.
He's so elite,
that
bro.
would have been amazing.
First time ever. But Josh Allen, shout out to
Josh Allen Cook.
Shout out to Benny the Butcher and the whole Buffalo.
Was he there last night?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
They did a theme song. Shout out to Benny, Buffalo, but it's just, it stops on Sunday. You had a hell of a run, hell of a season.
Yeah, it's over with.
But it's over with.
Jaden Daniels, Big 5.
A beast.
I'm predicting the Chiefs versus the Eagles.
Yo, bro.
A rematch.
No, come on, man. Commanders getting Eagles out of there.
No.
You can't even root for my. You know what I'm saying? I would support your team.
It's a rematch of what we saw 2 years ago, and the same thing is going to play out in the Super Bowl.
If Patty win this one, he greatest all time or he second?
Absolutely, number one with a bullet.
Nah, you're not number 1.
Number 1 with a bullet.
This boy got 7.
And Scottie Pippen, you dead wrong for the nonsense.
Yo, listen, man. Scott. Look, and I'm on record saying that this is my favorite player of all time. I'm no longer.
What Scotty do?
Nah, he's talking about he never spoke to Jordan. They never were friends.
First of all, he said, and this is blackout.
He said they never were friends. That's possible.
Ever.
No, that's fine. But he said if he would have got drafted by the Atlanta Hawks instead of the Bulls, the Atlanta Hawks, he would have 6 championships with the Atlanta Hawks.
Oh, okay.
And Michael Jordan would have 3 championships with the Bulls. That's the first thing that he said. Like, he's a difference.
Because him and Dominique would have won it?
Yeah. The second thing that he said is that he's better than LeBron James.
No, that's
he's not. He's not.
Crack cocaine is a hell of a drug.
Michael Jordan, Derrick Rose are my
saying
favorite
that
players.
you know Satoshi.
Yeah. Like,
then you're saying that you would have been you single-handedly would have
hurt, man.
Would have brought a franchise that has never won a championship ever in their franchise.
ABA? They ain't won?
I'm talking about NBA.
Oh, okay.
Atlanta Hawks have never won a championship.
Oh, yeah.
So you single-handedly would have got them 6 rings?
He said 6? That's so
and then,
2 I could have lived with.
No, not one.
Not one.
Not one.
And then you saying that you're better than LeBron James?
That's ridiculous. That's worse than the 6.
Everything is the 6 is ridiculous. They have no rings. So Scottie Pippen is going to be the reason why they win 6 rings, not 1.
Is he saying that would mean that he's saying that
he got robbed on a Hubert Davis call though?
That's a fact. That is a fact. And he would have, in my opinion, the Bulls win that championship.
Dude set out the game in the 4th quarter.
The last
play.
Don't do that.
When his ego was hurt. When
Kukoc hit the shot.
Kukoc hit the shot.
Tough shot, too.
Tough shot. It's a tough shot.
Scotty, bro, you was lucky.
Scotty finishing. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Ever. You was lucky to play with Michael Jordan. You was lucky to play with Phil Jackson. You was lucky to play with Dennis Rodman.
Not true.
Come on, bro.
Not true.
Count your blessings, man.
They won together.
Count your blessings.
The reality is that they won together.
That man.
But saying you would have got somebody else 6.
That's what happened is you did
1 or 2. Okay.
Yeah, but look,
6.
That almost diminishes him as a player. He was a great player, right? Yes, Jordan is the greatest player.
You should have ran off with your ex joint.
He's hurt.
Michael Jordan's son that ran off with bro. You need
that hurt. He's hurt, bro. He's hurt. He sold his.
Stop it.
He ran out of money. Sold his championship ring.
Stop.
He's hurting, man.
Scotty, stop it.
That's my guy.
Stop it.
But I don't really respect the shit. I'm sorry. The stuff that he's doing.
Stop
it. You going too
Somebody
far.
censor that for me.
Stop it. All right. Blackout. Tune in to Blackout, ladies and gentlemen. That's a sneak preview. Preview. All right. It's been real.
Better than LeBron is crazy.
Outrageous.
Marcus Freeman. Let's do this.
Love.